Ba-da-ba-ba. All right, what up, chat? I got
Hello? Oh, now I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you? What the fuck? Hello, hello. Now I should be able to hear you. Cubby?
hello.
Okay. How's my audio? Because I don't know what happened, but my Wavelink app just like went fucking crazy for my microphone. Looks like I'm
Sound
pretty
good?
quiet.
I think it's coming through all right. It might be a little bit quiet, but you sound good.
Yeah. You probably sound way louder than me. Can you talk again?
Potentially. Let's see. I'm a little bit louder from the sound of things on the stream.
Okay, talk again.
Hello.
Yeah, I
Hello,
don't know.
hello.
The Elgato thing is like I don't know why every microphone I have eventually just starts to act really weird. Like this one now, I either can blast people and like the gain and like my mic is just peaking even though it's kind of quiet, or I don't. It's just really weird. It's so weird. Um. Yeah, I have no idea why it's like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Am I peaking? Twitch chat, let me know.
I think you sound all right.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
All right. And there's Kangas. And you did
Hello,
not tell him about
gamers.
Skype when I told you to tell him about Skype, did you?
What?
I
Steve,
I heard nothing about Skype, and also this is the funniest thing. I haven't used
I
Skype since college. My old profile photo is me from like junior year. It's a
well,
trip.
you see, Steve has 2 Discord accounts, and I pinged him on his mobile one about Skype.
I do have two. Okay, you know what? In your defense, I've not checked my mobile one. But I do have Skype up, so I should be able to join if that's how am supposed to send videos
Yeah.
through.
Can you message me your username? Oh, I got it. Okay, cool. You
Yeah.
were sent it. Sorry. I was
I don't
dealing
know
with
if you
some
send
mic
the
issues.
email or the username or what, but I can actually click share profile. Oh, look at that.
Wow. Do you
Here, I'll
have
send you
hair in
that.
this
That
picture?
might. I know, right? It's such an old photo.
Yes, Travis.
But you can tell even in this one, it's like, nah, it's on the way out. It's got like a couple months left.
Oh, wow. People are subbing. Thank you to Danny Grimm for gifting 5 subs. Zushi for the tier 1. Sweet Be Good. Thank you for gifting a sub to Xpix. Actually, hilarious. Xpix didn't have a sub. I don't know how the fuck that happened. And then Fidel's Cash Flows. Thank you for the subs. All right. So I'm going to call you on Skype, both of you, and just do me a favor, Kangas. Just mute your Skype mic whenever you answer.
Okay, sure.
so that we're not hearing you twice.
All right, I'm in the call. I'm gonna get my camera open.
Cool.
Oh, there we go. Sweet.
Don't crash XSplit. Come through. Thank God. Okay. Do you guys have your cameras on? Both of you do?
Yeah.
Oh, it's already something else, isn't it? See full video feed. Does that work?
Kelby, we talked about it a little bit on Challengers yesterday, but do you have the Winnie the Pooh behind you on stream intentionally because the copyright is now, or the trademark or whatever is now public domain, or was that just circumstance?
I got him at Disney and just added them to. He just fit. So I think
Okay,
it was cool.
now I see you guys. Okay, cool.
You should just
one
start
thing I
throwing
understand.
up things that like become public domain, like throw up Mickey Mouse behind you also.
Dude, my background could just be Pal World, man.
True.
Just steal all the IP. I started the meta, not Pal World. No. Okay, I have coffee. I'm going to go grab that, and then I'm back for the rest of the time.
Cool.
Nice. Oh, we got a lot of subs coming in. Let's go.
I will check what is going on there in 1 second.
We're live.
Yes, I just have to XSplit. The recent XSplit update means that I can't change the layering of assets in XSplit until we're live, which is a nice little bug that they introduced. Okay, I'm gonna go close this closet door, and then I think we should be good. I'm gonna turn on a light too.
Cool. Oh, it's just me and chat then. Oh, I have so much power. Have they ever done this before? They just leave the guest alone? Oh, damn it, Cubby's back. Well, chat, we tried to have fun.
What was that about trying to have fun? I thought we have no fun, Steve.
Well, I thought I was going to be able to hang out with chat alone for a little bit, but y'all were too quick.
Thank you to
the
Godzilla
coffee's
Gorilla,
ready.
Dixie Cup, Avura, Dark Tarkonis, Connor Liebs, and George Zulu. Thank you, everybody. Okay, now how's audio? This is me talking. I'm going to be talking like this. Cubby, can you talk?
Hey, what's up? I'll probably be around here. Then maybe down here. Maybe up here. Probably not outside that. Hopefully that's okay for everyone.
All right, and now Kangas.
Hello. My voice is a little shot because I casted 2 days in a row and then did karaoke last night, but this is about the volume I'll be bringing.
Travis, we've had 2 guests in a row where we did karaoke the night before.
Wait,
I was
really?
Palafox, and I'll admit I was there too. But we're better off than Steve. It was our new roommate's birthday. He wanted to go to karaoke.
Gotcha.
I was not
We-
able
we
to
pulled
get
the
that.
Is
Palafox
your
karaoke
new
not
roommate a secret?
No, everyone knows. It's Shepard or Braden. So Shepard, LOL on TikTok for the guys in the chat. He makes TikTok content.
So audio sounds good. Do we all sound around the same volume, or are any of them louder? Okay, turn Kangas up to head. I will. I can do that right now. Cool.
Check.
Awesome. Can you talk again?
Yeah. What do you want me to talk about? Kelby, give me a topic. Usually, if I'm sound checking somebody, I ask what they had for lunch. So, do you want to ask me what I had for lunch?
What'd you have for lunch, Kangas?
Well,
what time did you have your lunch?
My dear roommate, Eric Deserix Beltran, fellow Challengers caster, made me something that I forget the name of, but it was like tomatoes and eggs and cheese, and it was delicious. So, that's what I had for lunch.
All right, I'm going to read out these subs really quickly, and then we will start the show. So thank you to Dixie Cup, Avura, Dark Tarkonis, Connor Liebs, George Zulu, Swede Be Good for gifting a sub to Kangas. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Abusive Toaster, Dragosi Gaming, Liberi, Notorious Bubble, and then Danny Grimm gifted 5 subs. And over on YouTube, thank you to Bug Juice Reviews for the membership. So, all right. We are going to start the show. This needs a little bit more volume. Okay, I'll give him a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, keep letting me know if any volume adjustments needs to occur. Also, do I sound like I'm peaking at all, Twitch chat? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is me talking. Am I peaking? Does the audio sound like I'm peaking? My mic's been really weird lately, so I don't know what's going on. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Hotline League. It is going to be a really good one because we have some interesting stuff to talk about on this week's episode. Obviously, week 2 of LCS hit, and we also have a whole bunch of other, I guess, little drama flares, maybe some extra stuff that has unfolded since the layoffs the last time we did the show and all that stuff. So we'll talk about all that here on this week's episode. But first, let me introduce my co-host in Cubby. Cubby, how's it going?
It's good. It was honestly, I gotta say, I made it back to LCS this weekend. I didn't get to go week 1 just because of how my schedule worked out. But it was a lot of fun being there, and the show being on weekends was honestly great. Like, the studio's been so much more packed, and I never really got to experience the studio beforehand on weekends because I moved out here last year, so that was a lot of fun. And also, I got to support Kangas, who was our guest, who was on LCS too that day. So that's cool. Kangas, welcome, I guess. How you doing? You
Perfect
know?
segue.
Yeah.
Perfect segue.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Why did you?
Yeah.
You've done my job for me, Cubby. Go ahead and introduce. I mean, you work with Kangas a lot, so you should be the one to introduce them.
Yeah. Well, Kangas, it's great to work with you again here on Hotline League. Thanks for joining us. You made another LCS appearance this past week. Congrats. I know it's a big deal for a lot of us, especially in the Tier 2 scene. Yeah, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Like I was saying before the show went live, recovering from 2 days of cast, because you and I casted together Challengers League on Sunday, which is part of why it's harder to make it out on weekends. It's awesome having LCS on weekends again, but then for us Challenger casters, we have the show right afterwards, so we can't make it out every day, but at least we can make it out some of the days, which is really fun. But no, I mean, it's the dream, right? Being able to cast LCS is what all of us are going for. So it's super fun being there with the crowd, try to get the crowd making some noise. And I think having 2 weekends in a row with sold out shows, I was worried that week 2, I was like, oh, I'm going to get the half filled crowd and like not as many people there. But there were a lot of folks still around at the studio. So that was really awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been super good. I think on Saturday or after Saturday, they did the Kia Fan Day event, which was pretty cool. I think I know there were a lot of teams salty that not all teams were invited to participate. I thought that was really overblown drama, but I do think that maybe it's a hot take, but I don't care. But I do think that they did a really good job with that, and I got a burger for free, so that was a deal.
Shout out to Energy for bringing dogs. They had actual dogs there that you could like hang out with and pet. That was great.
Oh, was that them? I didn't know if that was LCS or that was Energy.
That was Energy, yeah.
So, oh, by the way, apparently it's so funny. I will do tests beforehand. Twitch chat will tell me my audio's fine, and then people will say that I was peaking right when the show starts. So let me know, everyone, if audio is better now. And I'm sorry, podcast listeners and people who start the show and then they hear me going crazy. But it's I think we do have some cool stuff to talk about. I think the biggest stuff is probably going to be week 2 LCS, but if we get a caller about the TSM thing, I mean, it's funny because I feel like, one social media's manager's contract ends, and now this is it's like all this oil was just sitting there waiting to have any kind of little spark or ember hit it.
Wait,
and
do I need to check back in on this thread?
Oh, have you not heard about?
I mean,
you saw the thread.
I saw it initially that
right.
Dunk was
so
let go. But
here, let me give context. Dunk, who was the social media manager over there, his contract ended, and he tweeted, "Oh, my contract ended. No severance. Blah blah blah." It's always a bummer when somebody loses the job. I'm sorry that Dunk lost his job. Mm-hmm. Dunk has me blocked because I used to say like TSM is kind of shitty. And so this definitely feels like a leopards eating face party moment. Or is it cheetahs? Whatever. Anyway, so I it's like, yeah, they are shitty to the people who work for them, and they did a lot of shitty things. And now this is the next person who's like being treated poorly by them. But I do think that I do think that it's just like a funny thing where now this is like the reason for a Reddit thread to go up about the state of TSM and everything that's happened since they departed and all that stuff. But I don't think we really need to lean too much on it because like nothing has really changed. Like I'm not surprised by any of this.
Does
it's
TSM
really-
still have an active roster in any major esport title?
Apex, I believe.
Apex,
They
okay.
still have Hal and that crew. And I don't know about any others. So
I'm
Yeah.
really glad the Reddit mods leave stuff like this up on the website, but take down stuff that involves actual LCS players and teams still. That's
yeah,
good.
of course.
Yeah, of course. But it gets clicks, so
Yeah, yeah.
you gotta respect the hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
I guess they also have Leffen as well. So that's in addition to the Apex stuff, they have that. We can talk. I mean, if somebody wants to call in and talk about it, it's fine. Or if they want to talk about what's going on with TSM or whatever, we can talk about that. What else? I mean, we talked about this last week on Hotline League, and I did reach out to Riot about a comment for it last week, and then they very understandably said they wouldn't give me a comment, but I still don't have a comment. So, like, I guess we can just talk about how I've had a ton of people tell me it's kind of like an open secret behind the scenes. I assume you guys know too. Well, tell me if you don't. That LCS Finals not going to have a road show for spring.
Yeah, you kind of said it on the last show, and
Yeah.
that's also made it to my very professional desk here as well.
Yes.
So yes.
Yeah.
I've heard rumblings, rumors going around. I never heard any confirmations though. The last I had heard, it was still just in the conversation that there wouldn't be one.
Yeah, I mean, it's like part of the reason why I don't mind saying it is because one, I didn't get a comment from Riot when I reached out about it before. Two, it's such an open secret now that like, and we're now done. We're now a third of the way through the split. We're a third of the way through the split now after this past weekend, and so it's like, let's just say it,
I mean, I feel like they didn't want to, throw on more negatives after last week with the PR hit, but
Yeah.
also from a PR perspective, just throw it all out in one batch and get it over with.
Yeah.
So, missed opportunity maybe.
Yeah, I know that when they were having the announcements before the split began, Mark Z had like that one video addressing like a bunch of the changes and stuff. They didn't specifically say what was happening with finals for spring. And my read, because I had heard about the potential for that happening, was that they're trying to get the good news out so that we have something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And then later on we'll have some of like the maybe more disappointing news. But yeah, I also imagine that with everything that happened last week internally at Riot, that's just rough then to have extra hits. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Cubby. Like if that is the case, ripping the Band-Aid off might be for the best, but
yeah, I also, just so that people know, I've assumed there was a pretty decent chance of this since last year when Mark and I were on the show talking about how like LEC was clearly moving to only having one finals or one road show or whatever. And so at the time I was like, oh God, like if this is not a huge disaster, they will just do it again in LCS. So I don't I see some people being like, wow, Mark killed the road show or whatever. Like I just assumed there was not a road show to begin with. And they just didn't, as you said, Kangas didn't want to say anything at the start of the year about just put all the good shit up front, get people to tune in for week one, and then beat them down with the bad news.
Now this next week we're gonna get, hey, we almost hit 200,000 concurrent viewers, and by the way, we're gonna have a roadshow in summer. Yeah.
Yes. And now I'm gonna do the exact same thing on this show by getting everybody in. I hope Cubby's message to Kangas warning him that I had to do this is gonna start. So we have a TGI update. You may notice, we're just going to do this as a quick note at the start of the show here. You may notice that there's no logo on this stream, this show, for the first time in, I think, 6 years. We do not have a sponsor for this episode. Alienware, I was informed a couple of weeks ago, has informed me that they are basically moving to this model where they're going to be working more on like campaign style things, and rather than kind of doing the partnerships with people for the long haul like they did with me. This is still, like, obviously it's a bit of a bummer for a TGI and will have pretty big ramifications, assuming I can't find additional partners in the future. But yeah, that contract will end, I think, at the end of this week. And you'll still see some stuff come out this week, a couple of social posts or whatever, but we've already hit all of our deliverables for Hotline League for this part of the contract. So, yeah. Some additional information about that. One, I don't want anybody to be pissed at Alienware. They sponsored me. I think it was half a decade. I think we had 5 years of sponsorship, a little bit more than that. Yeah. So like,
a lot.
Look at any esports partner in the esports scene. Like, that just doesn't normally happen. And so it was like phenomenal they were willing to do this. I think they were already starting to move, quite frankly. Like, this was not a huge surprise to me because I think they were already kind of moving in this like campaign-based direction last year. And I quite frankly feel like it was the relationship with me and the good vibes that kept us going for another year. But yeah, there'll still be some stuff coming out this week. And then after that, we will not see Alienware on stuff going forward. I have gotten messages, and throughout the whole partnership, I've gotten messages from TGI viewers or people that watch my content telling me, oh, Alienware, I bought this new Alienware computer, I bought all this stuff. For those of you that have bought anything, especially recently, I don't want you to feel like frustrated with your purchase or anything like that. I still am on a great relationship with them. There's even a chance that in the future we might be able to work with them and so for like some sort of campaign-based thing, or they might be able to hook us up with some gear or something. They let me know that like this has absolutely nothing to do with my performance, my viewership, or anything at all. It is literally just the way that the company is approaching sponsorship going forward. So and for those of you that have shared like purchase information, all that stuff with me, I will say that I signed with a new agency in the or management group, I think is what I need to say. In the past 2 weeks, I'm working with Mythic, which is actually where Doublelift went a while ago as well. So they have a lot of different people underneath their banner, and I have talked to some of their leadership and had really great conversations with them that have made me optimistic going forward. So hopefully, we are able to get other partners in the long term. But for those of you that have sent me information like, oh, I bought this computer, or you've shouted out Alienware in the past or any of that stuff, all of that has, like, I spent a lot of last week collecting all that data to give to Mythic so that they can work with partners and share all this stuff so that they, basically make a case of like, hey, Travis is able to do really cool stuff with Hotline League and all that. So anyway, yeah, again, hopefully no one is bitter. Please don't be bitter. Alienware gave me 5 years of amazing support. And there are other brands out there that we are going to be talking to. So hopefully we will have cool updates on the horizon for brands that we'll be working with in the future. But yeah, thank you to everybody who has shouted at Alienware over the years and all that stuff. So thank you. Oh, and also, if you are in charge of some sort of marketing budget at a brand who is interested in reaching a coveted audience, let me tell you, my DMs are open. There's a contact form on my website. You can hit me up. Hitting me up, especially, you don't have to go to Mythic. Feel free to, but hitting me up directly, I'm happy to just have a direct conversation with you, and we can go from there. So yeah, especially if you work at a peripheral display or systems manufacturer, we have an open category for you. All right. Anyway, let's get into the reason why people actually tune into this show, which is the news and the callers. Cubby, have we had a chance to go through, not an org, Cloud9. We aren't at that point yet. Cloud9 on Twitch says an org. We aren't at that point yet. I have not ever taken money from an LCS org or Riot, despite, my detractors who are like, Travis is a Riot shill, Travis is in bed with these teams or whatever. I have never taken money from any of them. So I'm hoping to continue to get that streak going, but we will see how things go. But Cloud9, I appreciate the offer. Cubby, how are callers looking?
Not bad. We got a few lined up. I want to go grab one.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's do it.
By the way, folks, if you this is a great time for me to plug that you could sub to my Twitch channel. You can become a member on YouTube. If you become a sub on Twitch, I think you get ad free, and then you also get the chance to look at the VODs and all that stuff. If you are a member on YouTube, you get early access to interviews. There's like 5 or 6 interviews, I think, that are up right now that you can watch that are not public yet. So this is kind of a cool way to support the streams and the content stuff. And you can do both, even if you want, including Prime Sub. It was funny because last week I also found out that, I think probably 40 to 50% of my Twitch revenue, depending on the month, comes from Prime Subs. And I found out that Twitch is nerfing the shit out of Prime Subs.
Especially, saw that post when you tweeted it. Yeah,
especially on my, especially on the partnership level that I had with them. So when it rains, it pours. Treethan is here though. Treethan, where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Jersey City.
Jersey City, and what do you want to talk about on the show?
So my take is, if no one has seen this, they should. On Pros, the new show from LCS. Who he said that teams don't do tryouts like how teams did in Korea, and he would like that here. I happen to agree. I think teams should be having open tryouts and pulling players from solo queue.
So, I mean, in the past, they've done combines, right? Like Parth used to run a combine, and some of these other folks would do it. Can you elaborate on a little bit more, Caller or Treethan, on who he said, since we don't have the clip in front of us?
Yeah. So basically, who he was talking about, how he would go to PC cafes in Korea, and they'd have this tryout thing. Weren't at PC cafes, but that's how he'd like get into solo queue and stuff. So basically, they would have what they call testing, and teams would basically have various different tryout schedules for players that they just asked to try out from solo queue, and they would basically slot them into their teams. From my understanding of context, it would be like their academy or developmental teams.
Yeah. And Travis, like what you just said, we do see that occasionally in LCS level. I don't know, Cubby, if you or Travis have more information. I don't think every team does it, but I do know teams like Team Liquid have done it. Evil Geniuses, RIP, were doing it. They did it twice last year. So I guess, are you saying that you think every team should do this? Like this should be the standard, or that you just want to see more of it? Like, I guess what's the ultimate ask from you?
Who he said should basically be the standard. Teams should be running tryouts from solo queue relatively frequently, and either having them on as a sub or a trainee at this point. Obviously, the academy system is a lot different now, so that could work. And just really keeping a finger on the pulse on solo queue, which seems to be where all the action is nowadays anyway, since Champions queue is basically dead.
I mean, it's like historically always been solo queue. I mean, this is where like I'll always get on the pedestal, right? And just like my solution to make League of Legends like effectively, or like how to emulate what Korea has in North America, it is to put this in every high school across the country. Because like the advantages that Korea has right now are that, as Kamikaze Platypus put, or Jonathan, GM of NRG in the past, Korea, like LCK teams, they have like 3 to 5 teams under their main team that they can use to farm. And the big advantage for this is that Korea is a much smaller country. They have really good public transit. So like they can reach a lot of the kids like through trains and railways, where in Korea, your day as a student, like at a younger age, is you go to class and then you pick like one craft to focus on pretty much. And like some people like in that schedule, like they will end up like pursuing League of Legends or like this game, right? Instead of like doing music or a sport or stuff like that, right? I think that it's not feasible in terms of cost. Like the LCS teams like can't even have a second team right now. You know, like they can't even have an acad team.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you all.
Yeah.
like Kangas and Cubby, what do you think about an idea where like you mandate the LCS teams to have like a secondary team that they have to support that could compete in like
That'd be interesting.
tier 2 type system or league? Would that be something that you think would help with this?
I mean, it might help. I think the biggest issue is that it was all required to be in California, and that led to California state minimums. And now, like, people are remote. So, like, I know that there are a couple teams or players where, like, you have every player making like 2 to 3K a month, and that's considered a lot of money in our league, where it used to be like 55 or 65K a year of like California state minimum, right? So I think that the cost like went down because LCS changed that requirement, and I think that cost for a player is still too much. And in reference to Korea, my numbers like might be outdated. I'm sure that like LS and some folks that are more ingrained over there have more accurate numbers. But I know in the past, like if you're a trainee, you're getting like 200 to 300 a month just to like play, and that's not a cost of living in Korea is a lot lower, but like the wages are a lot lower too. So I think that like what Hui is saying, it makes a ton of sense for an LCK team because they can use those tryouts to fill like their 3 to 5 teams. Whereas in NA, like we have seen open tryouts for a lot of secondary teams. Like Kangas was streaming combines, which included the EG's combine, like from this past fall, and that is something that like some LCS teams have attempted. I just don't think that it's feasible because like there isn't enough space for them to fill. And they might as well just do like closed tryouts,
Yeah.
The
funny thing is, if we had not reached the point where we dropped to 8 teams and we still had 10, I have it on pretty good authority. We would have seen multiple, basically like rookie promotions. Either of like way more rookies than we already have, which is a good amount. I mean, shout outs like Meech, Masu, Sniper, like some of the big names coming in, but we would have had maybe double that, if not more, if we had those 2 extra teams. And there would have been instances, most likely, of players skipping the pipeline, kind of like Danny did back in the day, where you just jump straight into LCS and you skip past the academy level, which I think, and that was due to some of the combines and the tryouts that teams were doing this offseason. So it's crazy that you're saying, like, yes, we should do this, and that there's a conversation right now, because it almost happened, but then 2 of those teams are gone now. And then there was, more, veteran players to draft your rosters from, so we had less promotions.
I mean, we still had a ton of promotions, which is
true.
Like, yeah, because like if we're gonna include,
that's a disguised toast. Got 4 players into the league. One's a sub, but still.
I mean, I think did either of you reference the fact that it's also hard to do tryouts when we are bringing so many players from other regions? Because I think that's a big thing too, right? Like.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because you were, Kabi, I think when you mentioned it, it's like, yes, these teams can bring in players from like, on the train into Seoul. But in a lot of our cases, the way that LCS GMs and LCS teams decide to run the league right now and their teams is in most cases, who are the 2 players we're going to get that are living on another continent right now. So that makes it really like difficult for tryouts. And I mean, I think obviously I feel like that's just one more argument against sort of boomerang players in and out from the region. But it is a reality of the way that it is part of the reality that has led to, the situation we find ourselves in. So.
And I do see, shout out to Jonathan, Kamikaze Platypus in chat, who was talking about some of the NACL teams do combines and tryouts. That's absolutely true. Some of them, they are just 5 players that like playing together, and they'll approach an org and say, hey, we want to play for you. And that's how the team's put together, like Supernova this year. But some of the other Challengers teams, they do their own tryouts, and they'll grab people from the solo queue ladder. So it doesn't happen really at the LCS level as much, but at the Challengers level, that happens, from my understanding, quite often. That's like kind of the common way to do it. Otherwise, it's like just get the one guy that you really want, and then they'll build the roster with whoever they want to play with, kind of.
Yeah.
Do other orgs talk with NACL orgs? Is there any like cross communication? Like,
I mean,
with the unaffiliated ones, like, wouldn't that help? Like, just if the whole ecosystem knew what was going on, do orgs even pay attention? The ones that aren't in it?
I mean, like, I know, for example, like when quad wasn't over yet, FlyQuest was using a sub like outside their org, and like of course like they're talking like with teams. Quad of course plays on the challenger team for FlyQuest. So like yeah, and like I mean there are like a lot of like open secrets and like a lot of tape. I mean, you have to scrim those teams in the ecosystem. Like you'll talk for that. Like I'm asked about my opinion for stuff. I'm sure that other coaches are asked about opinions, or like coaches talk behind the scenes and share info. I mean, I think putting heads together, there's value in that, right? So like some of these are known. Some people like have different reads on what matters, like what talent matters, but that's fine. There's still like a lot of stuff that is known.
But if you want the spicy take, I'll give you the spicy one, is that I don't think the majority of orgs have people that have like a really solid temperature read on the developmental talent. I think there's a couple names in the scene that I have a lot of faith in, and I think that do know who the upcoming players are and are responsible essentially for players like Masu for coming up the ladder more rapidly. But I don't think that the majority of orgs pay that much attention. And that's part of why we get more focus on, challengers players from Korea coming over and then getting a shot in the LCS than we do for our own players coming up through the pipeline. Yeah. Although I don't even know if I can say more, because I think this split, I'm pretty sure we have more promotions than imports. I haven't actually done the numbers, but gut feeling tells me that that's true. Do either of you have the answer on that one?
I haven't run the numbers yet. I think
it's like Mass, Castle, Dove. Those are like the first three that come to mind, man. We already have like what, 5 rookies? B-Boy.
The rookies would have outnumbered him this year.
I think so.
Do we count Bwipo coming back?
I
like
guess
he's a weird case, right? Where like
Bwipo would technically count, but we don't count Inspire because he has a green card now.
Right.
So
Inspire was only out for like half a year. Like the bigger reason why you could argue you could count Bwipo is like he was out of the league for like a year and got brought in, even if he like never officially left the Los Angeles area. So, yeah. Yeah, it's weird with some of the stuff. Did we mention Umpty, by the way?
No,
we did not. No,
yeah. But yeah,
I think
it's
that
like even import versus rooks.
Yeah, it's even, or maybe a little bit more on the import side. I think. So,
but at least we're having the conversation. Most splits, it's like, oh no, we just had more imports.
I mean, the sad part is that like the biggest thing that contributed to this is like the fucking money dropping and 2 teams dropping. Like sadly,
yeah.
If that didn't happen, then like Licorice has a job, right? And Licorice should have a job. He's a great player, right? Like if any team wants to get him, that's fine, right? But the biggest thing that went in. Yeah, like the biggest thing that like went in was actually like the fact that the salaries went down, and some people were just like, "I'm done," and that sucks. Like, and I also think it sucks that it took salaries going down for some of these players to get a shot, because I think like Meech has been playing well in LCS. Like I think Masu, like he had one bad game, but Masu's been fine besides that. Like I think that some of the new faces have looked pretty good. Imports too. I thought Mask had a good week with Immortals this week. So,
dude, Twitch chat is just
does look really good.
People had a good week.
Twitch chat's just full industry right now. We've got Cloud9, we've got Portillo, we've got Raz, we've got Charlie from Immortals, Numi. Did I mention Raz? We got Jonathan. Like this has now just become the industry show for the.
You're the trade magazine.
Yes, exactly.
The trade magazine.
I'm Business Insider, or LEC or LCS official.
Esports Sky Mall.
Yeah. Jesus. Hopefully not that.
Esports Sky Mall was good.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I think that kind of addresses your take, Treethan. But do you have anything you want to shout
out? Shout out to Solo's Twitch stream. Very fun as a top lane main to watch that stream. So people should watch Solo's Twitch stream.
Nice.
Also, I wish he was still in the league. The dude is still really good.
Does he rage? Because like after all the reputation he had about being like a rager in the LCS, it would be very funny if he like never raged on stream. Or does he rage?
It's like chill esports grandpa rage.
Okay.
Like very subdued, but you feel it, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay. No, I mean that sounds less toxic than his reputation would have suggested. So, but either way, thank you so much for the call, Treethan, and we'll catch you next time.
Of course.
All right. Off Kangas goes to grab the next caller.
Kangas.
Oh, I get the next one. Yeah,
Sorry,
get outta here,
Cubby. I don't know why I said
picked them.
it's because I was holding. Whatever, it's fine. He already left. Cubby and Kangas right next to each other. I was already trying to move on to read out this giant outpour of subs that came in. Thank you to. Oh God, where are we? So many people subbed all at once. Thank you. Cherry Lace, Stevenator, Spring Power, D Fitch. What are you doing here? Hustbust, D Santana, Girlish Menace, Smirk, Z Crisper, Ian7J2, Hyatt, Rel, Outlandish Nerd, MyPS, Connor Leibs, gifted 5 subs, very generous. Real Celsius, Ixpix gifted 8. Bella with the 1. Ventus with 69 months. Congratulations, Ventus. I know that's a big deal.
Nice.
Alex Throws Games. Thank you, everybody, for all of the
Nice.
support. And then the Devious One over on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. All right. Our next caller is here. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, my name is We Just Play. You can just call me Play, and I am calling from Chicago.
Oh,
Hey, shout out
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah. What do you?
Cubby, were you
actually
born in
met you
Chicago
in-
also? I know I was born in Chicago, and you're from Chicago, but were you
Yeah.
born there?
West Burbs, yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Does
What?
that
I'm
explain
gonna
a
be
lot?
there-
Chicago, like, oh, yeah.
Are you-
Well, it's because, there's like an infamous western suburb that likes to say they're from Chicago, and then you ask where they're from, and they're like an hour west of the city.
That was a Jim Gaffigan joke with Milwaukee. It was a good one. But what's the take we got, Play?
Wait. First, I need to ask, are you going to be at MagicCon, caller?
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. I don't have enough money to get into Magic, Travis. I wish I could say otherwise.
Hey, drafting is not that expensive. There's a lot of ways to play for cheap, but build proxy a commander deck. They don't care. Regardless, I will be in Chicago next month. So if you change your mind, you'll be able to see me. All right, what is your take?
So my take is kind of something that was talked about last week regarding the layoffs, but I actually have it as like a retrospective after seeing the dumpster fires that were some of the pausing situations for LEC and LCS.
Yeah.
And then combine that with the stuff that Monte Cristo had posted on Twitter about how LEC purportedly only had like one observer, and the cherry on the sundae has to be the fact that Riot has now announced that they're no longer going to be working on their internal streaming platform. And if I was a team owner, I would be absolutely freaking livid.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this is the Ren call. How
Yep.
caller, when you say Riot has announced that they are no longer going to be working on this, I don't believe they announced. It was reported. I don't think people knew
The
they
team
were
was just
doing
laid
this.
off.
Like
Yeah.
it was reported that this thing was canceled, but I think that was the first time that it had been talked about publicly, right? Or had you heard about it elsewhere?
I'd only seen a couple of articles, with the first one being from that Bloomberg article that got widespread.
Yeah.
But considering the fact that it wasn't retracted, there was no editorial notes, and the fact that Riot hasn't like officially come out. and
No,
said
it's
one
completely
thing or
true.
another-
I mean, I could say it. I
Yeah.
could say it. So Ren was a project that was being worked on behind the scenes to create a platform wherein Riot would also be streaming alongside YouTube or Twitch, to my understanding. I never fully could great understanding on what it was supposed to encompass entirely, other than like you can read Needham's letter from April of last year about the future of sport, and he kind of references it there. I actually get the feeling that when the Worlds Unlocked thing came out last year, that was probably supposed to be part of it. Was like, oh, they're going to have this extra platform and you'll be able to get all these perks on it and all this stuff. And so, yeah, this thing was supposed to be like a place where they could custom build it. And oh my God, I'm so sorry, Kangas, Cubby, and all the listeners, but let me give you
I'm
a
excited
history.
for this.
Let me give you a history lesson.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a good idea. Cubby and Kangas, do you remember something called the BAM Tech deal?
Yes, I was wondering if that's where you're going with.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
So many people that I talked to have never heard of this before, but I remember I was in college when the reports first broke out about it, and I was all over it. It was
Yeah.
like, this is crazy. Like, what's
What
going
is
on, Disney?
Okay, so BAM Tech was it was actually a technology platform. So when I was at Yahoo, we met with these guys. But it was a technology platform that was created, I believe, originally by the MLB because they wanted to stream their games live on the internet. And so they built from the ground up this giant infrastructure for like a streaming solution called BAMTech. And it was like white label, which means like you didn't go to like bamtech.com to watch MLB. You just went to MLB.com or MLB.tv or whatever. And like that's where you would be able to watch this stuff using this technology by this BAMTech technology.
Yeah, they
And
built
then-
the actual site or whatever the streaming platform
Yes.
was, and then MLB
Yes.
owned that.
So then when I was at Yahoo, this is why Emily's freaking out in the Twitch chat. When I was at Yahoo, this deal got announced. It was like 2016, 2017, that BAMTech was going to pay Riot, I think it was like $350 million for rights to to broadcast 7 years of rights for League of Legends esports. And BAMTech was going to monetize it. There was going to be like a subscription service, and believably on top of this, and then Disney. I think I'm trying to remember. I think Disney bought BAMTech in order to use this as the back end for like
Disney Plus, right?
Disney Plus.
It was for
I think
ESPN Plus and
they
streaming.
also BAMTech. I think at the time
Oh.
was also powering what was HBO Now or HBO Go. And I think a year or two into the deal, it got announced that like the deal had dissolved. That like, so Riot presumably got a bunch of cash from BAMTech. Nothing ever came about, obviously, because none of us remember like a Riot TV platform or something like that. And it was just crazy. I did a video in my apartment, you can go find it, of me being like, it's a huge deal that this BAMTech deal ended. And I remember talking to, because like, oh, now they don't get any of this money. And I remember talking to Riot or some people at Riot at the time. I don't even think they're there anymore. And they're like, it's actually not that big of a deal. They're like, 350 million, not that big. We can make more. We're going to go get the right. We're going to go sell media broadcast rights to like Twitch and YouTube. And we're going to do this on our own. Well, they tried to do that a couple years ago. And it was after Overwatch League had already soured everybody's mouth on the topic, and so then they didn't get these broadcast rights. So then I think around the same time, I don't know when the idea for Ren was spun up, but like it's funny because Riot seems to have had their answer to the BAMTech thing be, oh, we'll just do this on our own. We'll create our own streaming platform, and then we'll be able to monetize it on our own, and we'll control it, and we'll do all this stuff. And so they spent years, I believe. Like I had been hearing about Ren for a very long time.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've had like I've also heard about Ren a lot.
Yes.
Like
yes.
this was a big thing where like, I mean, pretty much like there are issues with the teams being able to monetize through the broadcast. And whenever a team would go to Riot to talk about it, they just kind of kick the can down the road to be like, oh, we'll consider that for Ren. Like that might be a part of it, you know?
Yes. Yeah, there were a lot of things that were from talking to teams like Riot really pushed like, don't worry, we're going to unlock all this monetization through Ren. And there's the Bloomberg article, you should go read it. It probably does a lot better discussing all this than I did. But yes, so that was kind of the crazy thing was I remember on Monday afternoon or maybe Tuesday, I started getting messages from people that were like, I think Ren is dead. Like they just hit that entire team. Like that whole team got laid off. And I think a lot of us were always pretty skeptical about this. Like I remember talking to a friend of mine who about all this and just being like, this thing just sounds like such a waste of money. Like why do this? You already have Twitch who has created this platform that are running it at a loss for you. Like it just seemed like such a bad idea. And so, and like Riot just takes forever to build anything. And I think that's part of the reason the BAMTech deal died. I remember I talked to a source at BAMTech around that time who was part of the team that was working with Riot on this stuff. And they'd be like, yeah, we go in and they just make no progress. Like I'll just say one thing I remember them saying, even though it's a little weird. They were like, we'd fly to LA. We would come in at like these guys are working for like a traditional company in New York, and they'd show up at like 9. Nobody would be there. Riot people would show up. They'd do like an hour worth of work. They'd go to lunch. They'd come back, play a league game, then start working for the day at like 1 or something. So like it was never surprising to me. And I feel bad for the people that got laid off. Like I'm sure very talented engineers and all that stuff. I'm not trying to dog on that team or anything like that. But just like Riot as a whole, I'm not surprised that this product never got built. So yeah, there's my like 10-minute monologue, I guess, on Ren.
Yeah, I have thoughts on it. Oh yeah, go for it now.
Sorry.
Your question.
Because I just kind of wanted to like really bring up like why I felt that was related to the layoffs, not just because of that team specifically, but because if you combine that pipe dream that they were, like Travis said, using as a carrot to be like, oh yeah, we'll have money for you, keep coming. But then combine that with the fact that there were all these layoffs with the regular broadcast team, which needed all the strength it could get. It just, if I was in the pro scene, both as an owner, a player, or whatever, it just would make me very nervous because it just doesn't seem like they're not putting their money where their mouth is, no pun intended.
I for me, it's just like, like, it feels like a lot of the ambition is just gone. Like, Ren is, like, let's be honest, that is a pipe dream, right? Like, having, like, the Riot Esports Network. You can, like, tune in to watch this. I think it's for what it's worth, I think it's a terrible idea. Like, why not just monetize Twitch? Like, that does this just infinitely better, right? But, like, that is an ambitious project, and then it's just like, oh, yeah, we'll just, like, throw it in the can, right? And, like, big companies can do this. And, like, between that, like, limiting road shows, like, narrowing everything, like, it feels like a lot of the ambition for, like, hey, we can make League truly be a cultural thing, a cultural phenomenon is just gone. And that, for me, is, like, the shittiest part about all this. Like, I really believe, like, if Riot, like, did a better job of striking the iron when it was hot around seasons, like, 4. I think they did a good job from season 3 to season 4. And then, like, season 4 to season 6 was whatever. And then after that, I think that they, like, every decision that's been made is just, like, actually, like, set the scene behind as a whole. And, like, a lot of the ambition is just gone. And a lot of that was, like, it started with, hey, we need to make sure that every league is profitable, like, on its own, right? And so that has led, like, the excuse to just be, like, every year, okay, here's how, like, we can actually, like, cut more costs, like, here's how we can actually, like, drive things down. We can just, like, still run a similar product and, like, make sure it's profitable instead of being like, hey, how do we build something really fucking cool? And then, like, we'll make money off it later, right? Like, more startup mentality. Like, I feel like Riot really had the ability to do that, and they just never did that. And Ren, for me, again, is a pipe dream. Like, this was never going to happen. But they, like, it just goes into, like, the Riot mentality of, like, we're going to keep on pushing off these problems that the teams have right now to this pipe dream and then just do nothing to fix it. And then we're just going to cancel it. And now what do we do about all the shit we could have done for, like, 6 years, It's terrible.
I think
the craziest part. Oh,
okay.
sorry, Kangas, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to get in here because I've been hearing a lot of people saying, like, they don't believe in the Ren and what it could have been. If it's just a replacement for Twitch where they just stream the regions, yes, I don't think it works. It's not going to be enough. But the way I always envisioned it was more like the Disney Plus, where they have LCS, LEC, LCK, LPL, every live stream going there, but they also have Arcane on there, and they have players on there. They didn't have to partner with Netflix and Paramount Plus if they have their own platform to publish their own shows. Maybe we would have a season 2 of players if they had their own internal thing that they were able to.
I'd never heard that, Kangas. I mean, it would have been really nice if they'd done that, but what I remember at one point in time, I vaguely recalled somebody saying that, like, the idea was you could just tune into this and there'd always be esports going on, or there'd be some sort of programming. Like, I think they wanted to do, like, the boomer, like the same thing Ven was trying to do. All the, like, I feel like there's just these execs at all these companies that are like 40, 50 years old who are like, ESPN, that's the thing to be. This, like, 24/7 thing where you can just always tune into this central location and, like, you'll be able to watch something. And I don't know if that was really where Ren was, especially by the end of it. It could have been, I don't know. But, like, I think that was it more than it was supposed to be, like, a Disney Plus style thing with a lot of different original programming.
But that's what I wanted it to be, at least.
Yeah.
Because imagine you have a platform that has all that, and then all the Riot music videos and everything. I mean, they can still publish it to YouTube wherever they want to, but you have your own app on your phone where, like, they'll have the Arcane Season 2 premiere debut live on there or something like that. That'd be really cool, right?
Dude, is it really cool? Like, I guess if it's free, but if I have to pay a separate subscription to this, then like that is not. I'd rather just have it on Netflix. Well, Netflix is price hiking a ton, so maybe I'd rather have it on Disney Plus or something. Like, I'd rather it be on something I already have. I don't need another app. There are already services that have better backends for all this stuff. Like, I don't see. The other thing is that building these streaming platforms is this crazy ass thing, because then you also have to build a sales team to build, like, to sell.
Server space is expensive as hell.
Yeah,
and like it's I think it's I appreciate the ambition of the deal, but I think it was terrible, and I think that it ended up leading to a lot of problems not being solved that teams needed, and of course now we're like in the money pit, and that would have been really nice to have like 6 years ago, if like just simple stuff like why is there not a sub button on the Twitch? Like that could like went to teams. We're using that for Challengers League to like literally help. And like I talked to
Maryville this year, because like they tried it out last year with Challengers. That was like the test run to see if it was successful. It was very successful. We had a lot of subs at the Challenger level. Like we were at one point over 1,000, I know, which that's a lot of support at the Challenger level. Imagine what the LCS would be able to get.
I know, like Maryville, they paid for half their team's travel based on the money they got from NACL, like the whole like college, like for like a whole semester. It's a lot of money. Like if you're thinking like how many teams they have and like traveling across the country, that's like at least 10 people whenever you travel. That's a good chunk of money that enable them to do more. Like LCS teams like would get a lot more money than that. Like why not? Like I just don't know like why this is not the case.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, Cubby, I really like your point that like Riot consistently has said we're going to put off doing this because we're going to do like the 10 times better version of it.
Yeah.
That's just like a thing that I constantly see with them over all these years covering it. And then they hire up, do a bunch of stuff, and they go, "Oh man, this is really complicated. Should we really be doing this?" And then like it never happens.
It's too ambitious, guys.
Well, the best example of this is that like when Overwatch League first came out, they did a big partnership with Twitch, and Twitch had huge integrations that they built out, like engineering resources were poured into, so you could see all this data about the game that was displayed on the page. Twitch was paying them a fuck ton of money. Like emotes. All this stuff was happening. And
free emotes, free drops.
LCS and like Riot could have done that instead, right? Instead they like went and did the BAMTech thing. When BAMTech folded, the deal folded. They didn't go and try to do a deal with Twitch. And now we're in a space where like Twitch is laying off 72% of their company. That's obviously no exaggeration. Riot's laying off their team. Like so much opportunity has just been left on the floor because Riot is always like, we're Riot. We can do better than that. And I think the sad thing is that everybody loses in that world, right? Like the fans don't have as great of a platform. You can go to lollysports.com. It's dog shit. I'm sure that's what they were planning on. I'm sure it wasn't getting updated because they were planning on putting together the Ren page was going to probably replace it. The revenue's not there for the teams that could have been there in previous years. Like there's just a lot that I think is unfortunate whenever they do this type of thing. And so, yeah, like I don't feel too bad sort of raking them over the coals for this and seeing like the Bloomberg article come out, because I think this stuff should be a lesson for them. Like, hey, maybe turn the fucking sub button on Twitch. Like just take the little W's, because other than that, you're just racking up big L's.
How hard would it be to do that, Travis? I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if we can turn a button on.
I mean, at Riot, I'm sure it is complicated because here's the thing with Riot. Riot does this thing where, and it's like this at a lot of major companies, but especially at Riot, where they think so much about like what something means. It would almost be better in some ways if they cared more about the bottom line immediately, because they would just do things that make sense sometimes also for the consumers. But like the thing is, if let's say, for instance, you wanted to turn a sub button on Twitch, I feel like what happens is Riot starts to go, well, what does it mean to turn a sub button on? And like, is it fair for us to ask the players to spend money on us? And what are we giving them in return? And what if instead of creating a sub button, we like did this other thing where, you know, we just did this through the league client where you could spend $10 and then you could, and that's even more money for us, and you get some sort of blue essence and like these things, and then they get elevated to
And then they're
executives.
like, what if we make our own platform?
Right.
We have the engineering
Dude,
to do all this.
If you
built
told
in
me
the back end.
Ren spun out of what if we should turn the sub button on Twitch, I would believe
That
you.
was the first domino to fall.
I would believe you. Like that is just it is like such a riot thing. And again, it's like it is the way that a lot of companies, but like I don't okay. I also play a lot of Magic and I follow Wizard stuff, and disclaimer, I've like done sponsorship with them in the past year. Those guys are fucking cutthroat. Like they will just like burn things down for like whatever money they can get. And like it is really shitty, and I enjoy Riot's approach overall more, but like they don't like they'll just do something and you know that it's because they want to make some more money, and it just makes sense in that moment, and they're like, okay, we'll turn this knob and make a little bit more money, and you're like, you're cool. It's not like, well, we could turn that knob, or we could create a whole new page of knobs that we could constantly turning. We'll get it done in a year, and then 5 years later they're like, eh.
It's so sad because like I had a dinner with someone, like and this was our conversation over dinner. We talked about, hey, we have a meeting, like the person was like Ren was in the topic, and they were like, what should we be pitching? Like, what are ways we can make money off the broadcasts, like from a team perspective, right? Because like teams need more avenues to money, and like we spent time like talking about like, hey, like here's what we can pitch, like where like should you be able to buy jerseys like for the winning teams? Like we pitched ideas like, if you pay to like have access to like a team emote, you have to pick like 1, 2, or 3, like based on like how much you put in. And then like if someone wins, if you spam it in chat, like on the screen, you know, the team emote pops up like a Discord emote, you know, like tossing around like crazy ideas like this, right? The point isn't like what the idea is. The point is that teams wanted this to happen because they needed to make money off this. Like it was a big revenue push for teams, like, and a big promise that Riot had, being like, hey, we can have like, we'll have links to like the stores, you know, like if you're competing, like we'll have links to like whatever you want to promote, like we can help that like on the page and like all this shit. Like in the downtime, we can run your team's content, like stuff like this, right? Like it's the Riot Esports Network. Like we can run stuff that involves our games. It was just so much was promised, or like, no, I don't know what was promised, but the teams did have hopes like on this. And like for everyone saying like, if I was a team owner, like I'd be pissed. Like I know they cared about this. I'd be pissed too. Like this again was what they used to kick the can down the road. It was thrown into this bucket and it's just gone now. And in the meantime, what do they do to, you know, steady the tide and like the platforms they actually use? How do I get, like, if I see a team playing and I want their jersey, how do I get it right now? Can I do it through Twitch or YouTube? Like how fucking basic is it to like link a team store or like actually like updates like shit like this, you know? It's not hard. And I don't know. I feel like they just massively dropped the ball.
All right.
Like,
Anyway, we've
you
beat
can never
this
think
horse
of
for
being-
quite some time.
Yeah.
Caller, thank you for the call, and I really do appreciate it because I had forgotten about the Ren stuff coming out, and it's a fascinating topic that I care more about than I think the vast majority of people who watch LCS. Do you have anything you want to shout out?
Heck yes. I got 2 things. One, awesome job with your Alienware partnership. I've actually bought 2 computers using your code, one way back in 2019, and then I just got a brand new M17 a couple months ago. It's beautiful.
They make good systems. They make good systems, and they were a great partner. So
they do. They're great. Love you, Alienware. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
And second shout out to you and everything. I actually met you when you were here for the live show in Chicago at the United Center, and it makes me sad that there's not going to be a road show, because seeing your show live and seeing it in the United Center actually made my partner want to get into League, and he actually starts playing it now. So I have sucked another one into this madness.
Travis saving League of Legends. One
That's
road show at
awesome.
a time.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for the call. Thank you for the kind words, and we will catch you next time.
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick break to talk about this evening's sponsor, which is none other than you. Yes, you can sponsor TGI with in many different ways. So I have a whole link tree that is like a support link tree, which I'm wondering if we have that set up as a macro. Yeah, we do. If you do !mark link tree in Twitch, I don't know if you can over on YouTube. I don't know if we've set it up on there, but Numi will link it if that's the case. You can see all these variety of ways to support TGI. And I need to look at some additional ways to do that. I've thought about doing Patreon. I think it's tough when I'm already asking folks who watch the live show to do YouTube membership and Twitch. So maybe we can figure something out. I don't know. But yeah, if you do that, it is very much appreciated. And just so folks know, I do pay Cubby to do the show. So doing the show has a hard cost associated with it every week. Cubby very generous on what he has asked for in that, but it's not like I have to. It's not like the Mark days where that dude was asking me for $10,000 every episode.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wait, I should have called him before this then.
Yeah. No, well, hey, listen, you see, he had to leave because it wasn't enough for him. So
that's why you got the private jet now.
Yes, exactly. So hitting up those links, hitting up those resources. If you are a podcast listener, if you're watching over on YouTube, the link tree should be in the description, and you can find out those options. Yeah. There's a MeUndies link there. They don't even sponsor me, but if you buy MeUndies through the affiliate link, I get $20, I think, or something like that for MeUndies, and so
that's kind of banger.
You're helping offset my underwear budget. Anyway, that's it for this sponsor read for the show. Hopefully we'll have a real one next week. Want to grab the next caller, Cubby?
I got you.
Man, I haven't heard somebody else talk about the BAMTech deal in so long.
Dude, the BAMTech deal, like, I wish there was a bigger audience for esports business content, because it is like at times it is more interesting to me than what is happening in the games. Actually, now that we only have 6 weeks of LCS, there won't be that sort of dead zone. But I remember when we used to have 9 or 10 weeks of LCS splits before playoffs. Like week 7 would roll around, and I'd be like, okay, let's wrap this up. Like, we know who the teams are that are gonna be making playoffs. Like, usually it's like 1 or 2 sitting at the bottom we don't really care about, and yeah. So Franz is here. Franz, where are you calling from?
Hey, calling from Huntington Beach, California.
Huntington Beach. You've been on a couple episodes recently, I feel like.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Well, welcome back. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Thank you. Yeah, so I have sort of a prediction and then a take. Community sentiment around APA has not been fantastic these first few games. And I predict in very Team Liquid fashion that if they do not pick up performances, Team Liquid will replace APA. And I think if that were the case, I think that would be the wrong move. I think it is long past due that Core JJ moves on and Team Liquid moves on from Core JJ.
Oh, you're saying Core is the problem, not APA.
Yeah, I like Core as from his past. If you look at Team Liquid though, since they put together like the 2022 super team till now, they've almost had the same identity that whole time. Win early game really hard and throw mid game to paint with a broad brush. And the one constant has been Core JJ, the main leader and shot caller. I just think he's past it, and I think in order for them to achieve the highs that we all know Steve aims for, it's time for them to move on and invest in some young talent, which they have done, and move on from Core.
Cubby, do you want to start this off? I'm very curious about your thoughts on this.
Okay, I will say that I guess I'm a bit biased in the sense that I think that I think Core will be with TL until Core decides he doesn't want to compete anymore. And we talked about combines earlier. I also was a coach in TL's combine. Core was one of the coaches in there. And when they narrowed down the players from 20 to 10, they didn't keep me for the other 2 days, but they gave me access to the server. I wasn't doing much, so I just kind of hung out in there. And hearing Core coach was really fun. It was really something. Core brings a lot to the team and the team environment. and this might sound crazy, but he is a player where I think he brings you so much value that even no matter what he's doing on the Rift, I think he's still really good to have in your org. Now, I think a lot of people have been going very hard on APA and TL. And I want to just, bring up, like, I know TL at 2-2, they haven't looked the best. This is a team that we did expect to be middle of the pack. I think everyone pretty much universally.
Yeah, where did
had
you
them at
power rank them?
fourth.
Do you remember?
I had them at 4th. Yeah. In a tier of their own. So they're about where I expected right now. Who is playing well on TL?
That's a great question.
Everyone wants to kind of bash APA. Who was playing well on TL?
Twitch chat was mostly saying Impact and Umpty.
I'd say
the top half
I
of the
think
map.
Impact. I think top lane is honestly. It's hard to figure out who's playing well top lane. Honestly, we're gonna be honest. Impact the map on 2 Udyr games is great. I think Umti's been okay. I don't think anyone's
good in the first couple minutes of the game. Usually, their laning phase is good.
I don't think anyone's playing great. So if everyone's pointing the blame at APA or Yawn, who are the 2 younger players, I think they've kind of taken a fall. I would just like to ask hey, who's playing well? I really don't know anyone on TL that's playing well. And I went through the tape. I thought Yawn's actually been okay. I know that the FlyQuest game, I'm actually going to kind of chalk up more to draft from this week. I really don't think the TL had much of a chance to win off that draft. And then the other game, I thought that APA got fed and he was the focus and he managed okay. I don't think that he played super clean, but they won.
Mm-hmm.
So I also
almost betrayed Umpty. Almost. But
yeah, that was bad. There were a couple fights where he did the Triss combo but was off 100 HP.
Yeah.
So he didn't clean up. And then he jumped into an Azir ult, which was pretty bad. I don't think he had his best game, but I don't know I don't get the bashing of APA because I don't know what the community's expectation is for APA honestly, because my expectation for APA is that he is a middle of the pack mid laner, and I'm hoping that he improves.
Yeah, it's also APA.
I don't have a ton of expectation for APA.
Playing with a new jungler now, and APA last year when he first came in, they had content pieces, even though the language barrier was there. APA and Pyosik seemed to share the same opinions of what plays they wanted to go for, and they looked like they had a lot of innate synergy that they didn't need to build up. They just played and saw the game in similar ways. And now you don't have that anymore. It's a new build. It's a new team. So I think obviously APA is going to look different, and he is getting focused a lot in these games. His Ziggs game in particular, they were just waiting for wherever APA was going to go, and then they would just pounce on the Ziggs, which is partly on APA for walking into brushes that are not warded, but also it seems like a lot of teams have that game plan of shut APA down. And yeah, I think that it'll take some time for this Team Liquid roster to really figure out how they want to play the game.
Yeah, I think I have a hard time 2 weeks into a split thinking that anyone should be making changes unless something just feels dramatically terrible. And so it's only 4 games. I know APA was upset last week that he'd only played 2. So I think a little bit more time is required. And again, in an 8-team league, you have a lot of leeway. I feel there's not a lot of competition. I guess you could suggest maybe there's less playoff spots or something, but it's just not. I don't think it's an issue right now. So I think a little bit more time is fine. What do you think of the core stuff though, Kangas?
That is a bold move to say Core's the problem. I think that Core does, like Cubby had said, brings so much more outside of just in-game performance that I would want to keep this player as long as possible, especially when you have... Core's had a kind of a history, almost like Aphromoo in a way, where you put him with a young rookie AD carry. Look at how good Tactical looks next to Core. Look how good Jan has looked next to Core. I think that Core can elevate and provide the training wheels for a lot of younger AD carries to develop and get better. And I do see a bright future for Jan. I think that he's got a higher ceiling than he's shown already. And I would want him next to a support like Core for as long as possible, as opposed to, get rid of Core and bring in, as much as I love and root for players like Busio and Ayla, I think it's just harder for a young AD carry to really pop off and improve at a fast rate if they're next to somebody who's also improving and learning the game and trying to compete at the LCS level than somebody who, like CoreJJ, is going to be much more comfortable at that level. So I'm of the opposite opinion. I don't want to get rid of Core. I want to keep him as long as we can.
Yeah, I don't think it's time to put Core out to pasture yet. I do think there's an interesting question of like, what does TL look like if Core is able to step back and coach? I not that I'm saying Spawn is not worthy of that or anything like that, but like, it would be interesting to see what he can provide to the team, just being out of it. But I don't even necessarily want to say that time has come yet. So, I mean, Caller, what is it about? Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Kangas.
No, I think that'd be the natural progression. I would love for Core to stay in the scene whenever he's ready to stop playing. But yeah, I mean, if he's gone, I still want him to stick around and work with the players. He's invested so much into the LCS and NA. He's like the prime example of, like, we don't want to have players that come in for one split and then get out because they're not happy in NA. And Corey invested, and he's done so much to help develop our region and develop our players that I'm hoping that he is still willing to stick around coaching whenever he's ready to stop playing.
I don't think, like, again, I don't think TL is like playing great as a team so far. I can't really, like, I think they've also had like a couple drafts where, like, I know, like, from watching Spawn in TLC, I think that Spawn has always done a really nice job at having his younger teams have very rigid macro and rotating well. And I haven't seen TL be super good at that outside of like Impact roaming on Udyr, which a lot of teams are doing, so it's pretty common. And also Spawn will very much, like, his team's played early game. It's kind of hard. It's like a new team. Like, I don't know like how much control Spawn has over this roster. I think that Spawn is really effective. I don't see TL playing as a unit yet. And therefore, like, I don't know if that's like changing pieces or just giving the pieces more time. And I'm kind of with Travis. You can't change any pieces. And I don't think that Core is a piece you even can change. Like, realistically, you cannot change Core, if we're being honest.
Caller, I do want to give you a chance to kind of rebuttal any of this or anything you want to say.
So, yeah, I mean, the things said about Core's, you know, other than just strictly his gameplay, is, I think, valid. He offers a lot. He's had high performances in the past. He's a good mentor to young ADCs. I'm sort of looking at it across this last 2 years, Team Liquid has hovered around third to fourth. They did make Worlds, so that was, you know, that was at least something. They've hovered around third to fourth with what I feel is like the same identity that they have not been able to break, which is, again, you know, smash early game and throw mid game and not be able to close out games. And if I'm looking to the future and how to break out of that, I'm looking at the person who probably has the most influence in that team. I also just think Core's past it. I think his peak is behind him, and his name value has been carrying him a little bit further than his gameplay. So I would like to see him moved on, just to see if Team Liquid can.
Do you have a replacement candidate?
No idea, to be honest.
That would help the argument.
I know it definitely would. But
what do we think, Cubby? Who would be the replacement? Is it Zeyzal?
No, you can't go Kim down, and you can't go anyone on a different team.
Oh, we can't go anyone on a different team. Okay.
You'd have to find likely someone that, you know, it's a mostly Korean-speaking team, and Jan's younger. You're gonna go get Trimby. I see that the chat with Reckless in the chat. Oh no.
Yeah. Here T1's got a really promising support in their developmental leagues. We could take a look at them.
Yeah, new guy. I don't know. I think like I don't see any replacements either.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was there anyone who came out of the EG Goldie Guardians blow up that we could think of? Or got screwed over in that?
Chime is probably the most experienced support. Like, we have Chime and Diamond and Challengers. And I will give a shout out to TL's support in Challengers, Kim Down, who I don't think is ready for LCS, but he grew a lot in his first year. He went from like being a collegiate player who like never took top 8 and like even upsurge tournaments to actually being really good.
We don't have like a
so
most improved award in
he
challengers.
was a good
but
candidate.
We all we're like maybe we should make one because of how much
kinda-
better
I-
Kim Down was at the end of
I
the year.
kind of
compared
wanted to
you.
make one for Kimmy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kim Down improved like a crap ton. It was really fun to watch. So shout out to Kim Down, but he's not ready for LCS yet, and he's not an upgrade to core.
Well, sorry, caller, but I think that more than anything is the rough spot. If you'd come in and you'd been able to be like, and look, there's this, it's not like there's a Spica for support sitting on the outside of the league right now that's like, yo, TL needs to go pick this person up right now. So I think, that's a rough one.
True. I think it more comes out of it's me being scared of something that hasn't happened yet. I worry that Team Liquid, like Steve, will panic and go for the easy sort of, oh, it's our rookie NA mid that's not good enough.
Panicking is expensive sometimes, so that's not an option as much this year. But we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
That's the case.
Yeah, we will see. All right, thank you so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, shout out your sponsors, Chat and me. Everyone sub to Prime, or use your Prime sub, and shout out Alienware. Thank you guys for having me on. See you next time.
Thank you so much. Catch you next time. Yo, Alienware still getting shoutouts. I wonder how long we're gonna get Alienware shoutouts after they've stopped paying.
5 years is a long time, man. That's
Yeah.
actually crazy.
Yeah. I guess they deserve that. They get a little bit of residuals on the back end.
Yeah.
Is that longer than any LCS sponsorship?
No,
I think,
Team
like,
Liquid has had
longest-
Alienware longer than I have.
Okay.
And Cloud9 had HyperX for a really long time, but I don't think they have them right now. I'm trying to think of who else. The funny thing is it's longer than I think a lot of LCS teams. So yeah, I mean it's pretty.
Franchising was 4 years ago, 5 years ago now.
Yeah, I know. I already know that what's going to happen. Like, this is always the annoying thing is like anytime anything that is like suboptimal happens to me, or even when something that is suboptimal didn't happen to me, that the haters come out in force and they try to be like, haha, see, Travis got fucked and he deserves it because he sucks. And
he can't even keep a sponsorship for 6 years.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Can't
and
keep
I'm
a
just
co-host
like
for 7 years. Can't keep a sponsor for 6. What's going on, Travis?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It's it's goofy, but I know that'll happen. Cubby, you want to go grab the next caller?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Thank you to a whole bunch of people who subbed. Where were we? Alex Throws Games, Silly Shadow, Director Donut, Meek Out, Finance Consultant, Mac to Ace, Sushi Daddy, Illumination, Psych for the 5 gifted, Perchy, Be Gentle Baka, Jaffe, Bowen, thank you for the 500 bits, Devious One, thank you for the tier 1. Over on YouTube, thank you to Jeremy, who has thrown out $17 my way, Babushki, sorry, and also Uwu. Thank you everybody for the support over
to Uwu.
there. Where
Is it
are
just UWU? How'd they get that username? That's incredible.
Well, it's YouTube. So YouTube, you can have like whatever name, like somebody has Jeremy or whatever, and then you like click their profile and they have like a different thing. So
Fair.
it's a little different than Twitch. Brandywine is here. Brandywine, haven't been on the show in a long time, I feel like, but I remember you. When was the last time you were on?
Last time, it was probably like the live show Worlds 2022.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I remember meeting you. But yeah, it's been a long time. What do you want to talk about on the show?
So I want to talk about how pros is the best thing to happen for the scene in years. Last year, I would never have remembered the name of someone like Umti, and now he's one of my favorite players. There's like countless examples of rookies from prior years. His names just kind of go in one ear and out the other as they cycle in and out.
Yeah.
Of league, and this format's just really cool because it allows pros to be in a more comfortable kind of conversational scenario rather than the kind of samey interviews like post-game interviews. And plus they're like interacting with folks outside of their team, which allows for like new conversations and content. Would love to see who he teach Umti to make Chi or something like that. Plus, I think Jat and Emily Rand are both like just really talented at facilitating conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that you can connect with a player for the 7 months that he'll be in the league. I think it's awesome that Pros allows you to do stuff like that. Not a slam against Umpty, by the way, just a slam against our ability to retain any player from another region. But setting that aside, I really do agree with that sentiment. I mean, we talked a little bit about Pros last week on the show. It is a better version of State of the League, which was the show that literally started my career. And I miss that show so much. Like, it was always rough doing that show because you never know, like, how great the players are going to be at wanting to talk about something or feeling comfortable talking about stuff. And so in a lot of ways, Hotline League is a little more comfortable for me because I have co-hosts that are very comfortable with this talking about the BAMTech deal or, you know, all these random other things that are relevant that maybe are not top of mind for the players. But getting to see players interact with other folks on other teams is great because I do think oftentimes you end up in situations where a team will have groupthink around a topic. And so you interview one player from that team and they'll just sort of say the same opinion as like another player. Not to say that like they always agree or anything like that, but like when you do get a discussion from 3 different people on 3 different teams, it is really, really great. So yeah, I'm really happy that Riot is doing that type of thing. And I do think it is like in a lot of ways a better investment for them than the analyst desk was. I do hope that they can get sort of a more promotion on it because I did see it today on the LCS YouTube channel and it was like doing okay, but like it's definitely not at a point yet where it's super popping off. So
we're promoting it right here, Travis. That's why we pulled the call, right? Yeah,
we're doing everything we can to help
this Hotline League episode sponsored by Pros, the LCS show.
No, unfortunately not. Or fortunately, I can't take that Riot money yet. But yeah, no, I really like it. I don't know how much you guys feel about it. I haven't had a chance to watch today's episode yet. It's been crazy.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but I'm always a fan of getting players talking with each other and getting their voices and faces on as much content as possible. Something that at the NACL level we try and do because the way we strategize about it, Cubby, you might have more thoughts on this too. It's like
we have strategy.
They don't. Well, we try at least. You know, the players don't have a lot of branding, especially at the challengers level. So often, what I'm focused on is I have this personal opinion that you almost connect with people more off of what's not in League of Legends than what is. So like at least from a broadcaster side, so I try and get players to be like, what do you do that isn't just League of Legends, and how can you like communicate that, make that part of your brand, whether you like going to the gym or you have another sport or something. But the other complete opposite is also true, where like if you were just really smart about the game and able to talk about these complex topics with other players, I think that's also very fascinating. So I love shows like this where you get the opportunity to do a little bit of both too, because then you just see them interact with each other and like having these organic moments where you'll learn about them as people, not just as players.
Could have been great Ren content, honestly.
Oof.
No, I mean, it's not a new idea. I think it's a good execution of the premise. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I think it's good. Like, I'm glad that people are latching onto it. I don't have much to say about this because it's like I agree, you know.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, you know, if you see a bunch of ex-pros coming out with NBA podcasts, you know, every NBA ex-pro has got a podcast now where they just bring on players and shoot the shit and like talk about old stories. Why not do that like while they're still in the league, like through the week, right? I think it's really easy. And I actually hope like they think about maybe getting an ex-pro or two in for one of these too, because like I feel like you could kind of like get some fun stories if you get some old guard people as well. I feel like that was more of the goal with the Meteos show. So I don't want to have more than like one ex-pro on, but also I think that would be really fun to like have a couple old guard in just to.
Yeah, the challenge is a lot of those guys just stop paying attention the moment that they're out, and so like that's always been a thing is I'd love to get some ex-pro on or something the show, but then it's like, okay, what did you think about this thing that happened this week? And like they're just not clued in. I'd be really curious to know how much the NBA folks still watch NBA, because I feel like, yeah, like Aphromoo, for instance, I doubt watches LCS these days.
That's too bad. I think that it's like really common in traditional sports where you get greats that like are they just become fans.
Yeah.
It's very common.
Well, and there's a
that
lot of
is-
those
yeah.
guys who are also kind of in that liminal space of like Snake Adios, they're still doing things in the scene, or like people who are on coaching staffs as well who you could bring on.
Yeah, I think those guys are tough. So the way they film pros is they do it immediately after the show ends, and so there's just a logistical issue with those guys doing co-streaming. But maybe if they are like sort of the way Double Lift was in the studio that week, you could try to have one of them on. Medios is obviously already on the dive, which doesn't mean he can't do this, but like it is kind of not hitting that purpose as much. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how things go.
I do want them to bring more ex-pros on as guests for the show because they've been. I mean, I was a guest this last weekend. I know
for the
that
LCS, you mean, not for pros?
Yeah, but if they bring him on as a guest for just like the show day, they can keep them around
Sure.
for a show like Pros at the end of the day, right? Like I filmed some extra content at the end of my guest day. I assume that they can do that really with anybody that they bring in. So say they had Medios or even players that aren't like, retired pros, they're just not on a team like Spica, Stixay, somebody to still have them involved in the show in some capacity would be really cool.
No, I think that is super cool. So, hey, thank you so much.
Ask a quick question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just because I mean, I've heard you talk about State of the League. I didn't start watching LCS until 2017, so I didn't see any of that. But whatever happened to that? And I guess I just haven't seen any sort of longer form content that brings people together like this. Is it just that like teams are hesitant to let folks outside of the established names? Or was
So I'm
Riot
going to burn my
hesitant?
relationship with Kangas right
Polar.
now by admitting
Yes.
that before Cubby hit up Kangas, I had reached out to 7 different people today about coming on the show.
Yeah,
I think-
got it. Hey,
Travis
top
told
10.
me 8,
Top
so
10.
you know.
I think
Take it.
3 were coaches, 4 were players, or maybe 5, or might have hit up 5. Maybe it was 8 people. And one coach said, I have a personal issue today. Another one just hit me with a no TY. And the third did not get back to me. On the player front, Insanity, I think, was the only person to reply to me, and he said, oh wait, I got it. I just got a message from the other coach that said, sorry, I had plans tonight, which is fine. It's
I
a
thought I was
weird
gonna have to
line.
go and you were gonna get him in. Yeah.
It's a weird line where you if I reach out to people too early, I found that the best time to reach out to pros is the day of, because if you reach out to them like before their games, they're like, I don't fucking want to think about this. And they might even forget about it. But if you reach out to the morning of, they're like, oh yeah, sure, I'm not doing anything tonight. Busio replied and said that he was busy, and then Insanity said that I should he said he had a meeting tonight, and then he said you should probably ask other people. I'm sure Zazel might be down. And I said I did message Zazel. He didn't reply, and he said, yeah, he's got a big ego now that we're 1-3.
I love
So anyway, all to answer your question, which is, it just became way harder to get pros on once LCS started. Like I had State of the League for basically a year or two, and then once everything kicked off, it just became really hard to get 3 pro players all together at once. Now, Riot can do it because those players are already in the studio, and Riot can be like, you gotta fucking do this. We're Riot Games. You saw what we did to the Ren team. You don't want us to do that to LCS, do you? And so they'll stick around for that. But it's a lot harder for us to do, for me to get 3 pros all on at
Yeah.
once. I can't even get 1 pro on this show. So
Do you think
It's also important to know the right pros. For example, I know for a fact that Armeo he loves doing content. He really enjoys
Really?
watching content and doing content. So when I did like my thing, I guess spoilers. I may or may not have done something with some of the Immortals players, and both of them had a really fun time with it, and we're like, yeah, no, well, like we love doing this stuff. So I guess it depends on the player and if they actually want to come on or not.
Yeah, and oftentimes I try to leverage Palafox. I feel like I can always get on the show because he's one of the players I'm closest to. Like we'll just hang out and talk at times around the studio or at events and stuff. But it gets a lot harder whenever I'm like hitting somebody up and I don't have like a close personal friendship with them. So, but yeah, I would like to do it. Honestly, one thing I would like to do with Hotline League this year is get multiple guests on at the same time. And just be more ambitious in that. Again, it's really hard, as we've talked about, to get even one person on. But like, it would have been great to have Kangas on tonight and a pro. I think the show just becomes a little bit more dynamic at that point in time. So we will see. But if you are a pro player watching this, please reach out and let me know if you want to come on the show.
It's good branding. You need to get your face and your voice out there, all you pros.
I was complaining to a friend about
matter.
this earlier, and she said, I pinned the comment. She said, "You can't help LCS if no one wants to do it." And I was just like, I need to get that framed and put on my wall so that I can just watch it, look at it every now and then whenever I get depressed. Anyway, hopefully that answers your question, Brandywine.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, shout out to FlyQuest for quality content all the time. Shout out to whoever the first company is that'll reach out to Travis for sponsorship. Shout out to Kangas for hard inting his bingo card. And shout out to
Look,
all the
that
folks
was not
I
my
play
best look.
League with.
Dude, the bingo card thing, it's funny because, like, in one sense it's cute, and in another sense, I was talking to a friend today that works at Riot, and I was like, yeah, the thing that the LCS really needs to connect with a new young audience is fucking bingo. That's hip, that's trendy. All the senior citizens will
Hey, it
love
felt
bingo.
like 10 minutes of that pause that we had.
True.
Yeah,
Is
whichever game it was.
Production capability, if you have 2 days to do something, a bingo card, it's feasible. All right.
Yeah.
And that's why they run it in the homes. It's feasible.
That's
You
why.
can do it.
And I was gonna say, it's so great to see Kangas make it on and fulfill his dream of being in the LCS with the full extent of even filling for pauses. Ridiculous pauses.
I got 2 pauses each game, and then Flowers shows up for the last 2, no pauses for the rest of the day. I was like, come on, what's going on
Well, you
here?
were probably stepping on a cable. I'm sure that somebody was learning that
Master
job
Stroke, yeah.
after the person who was doing it previously is no longer with the company. All right. Thank you, Brandywine, for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to say that, like, I know there was a lot of focus on the LEC folks that got hit, and I do think there were a lot of people that got hit over there, but, like, LCS also got pretty hit. There just was not a lot of people talking about it. The casters, I guess, just didn't, like, I know Shocks talked about the stuff on the LEC side, and other people came out and were talking about it as well, but, like there was a studio content team that made a lot of, like, stuff. In fact, I know even there was a video that was released this past week that was like, pros talk about how to climb in the new patch or whatever. That whole team just got gutted. A good friend of mine who produces The Dive is currently looking for work. So
He's very talented too.
Yeah, he's great. And he worked on players as well. So really cool dude. So there was just a lot of folks. I heard a lot of engineers got hit on the LCS side too, which also is
The
ironic
graphics team.
because we've had a lot of pauses lately, and hey, engineering is often
Actually, we even shipped one of our observers to LEC for this week.
We did.
Wait, really?
That was funny.
They like overnighted an observer over to help out with LEC.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't hear about that one. Yeah.
You didn't hear about that?
insane. Well,
Shout
hey,
out, Lauren.
LCS, LEC.
We're in
Shaking
it
hands.
together.
Yeah,
We're in it together.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting week to guest as well because I had gone in and I'd worked with one of the producers. Shout out to Manny on like a couple different content ideas I wanted to pitch because I do a lot of the content for Challengers League, or at least last year that was part of my responsibilities, was doing a lot of the content. And I had a couple ideas I wanted to push and be like, hey, like, can I do all this stuff while I'm in the studio? And then, we did that the week before the layoffs happened, and then the the week that happened, I was like, oh, we're probably not going to get the majority of these things done. But shout out to the team that is still there, because they were still very accommodating, and I was able to get 2 different things done. One just had to turn into a live bit. If anyone saw like the Masu Wi-Fi Wizard ping to performance matrix thing that we did, and then one other one we were able to film afterwards. So they're trying to make do with what they with the team that's there, but heart goes out to everybody that was affected.
Yeah. All right, you want to grab the next caller, Cubby?
Yep.
Shout out to the Devious One, Potata, Wilka Beast, and Open Fire for the subs. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Over on YouTube, no new memberships. YouTube, I gotta say, Twitch crushes you every week. I don't know what it is. Twitchers are maybe it's the culture. Like YouTube viewers are just used to not doing that type of stuff. Okay, we got Skizzle here. Skizzle, where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from Fairfax, Virginia.
From Fairfax, Virginia. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Yeah, I'm calling in to talk about how I think that the reason Shopify Rebellion have been generally disappointing this year and are in last place is because they made some poor roster moves and failed to retain their support player, who I think was really good, and failed to pick up it's either 2 of the remaining top laners available who performed very well last split. If you look at their core from last year of like all the bottom tier teams, so like Dig, IMT, 100 Thieves, and Shopify, I think that they probably had the strongest core overall. So like, you think like Insanity, Boogie, and Chime were probably the highest performing core of the teams that were still available, and they failed to keep one of them. And I feel like they didn't pick up one of the better replacements for their top laner, which they probably think was good for them to replace. So overall, I just think that they've made poor roster decisions, and that's why I think that they're generally playing below what the most analysts had them power ranked at the beginning of the season.
All right, I don't want to go first on the Shopify Rebellion stuff because I am a Shopify Rebellion hater.
I'll take first here then, and then Cubby can tell me if he agrees or disagrees. I think that Shopify's general strategy, I don't know what was happening behind the scenes or any of their scouting and actual signings, but if you look at the players they picked up, a lot of the disguised core from NACL Summer Split, they won the split. So Fake God coming in, Zeyzal coming in. I think that this seemed like it's a little budget. I would be surprised if any of these players were making much more than minimum, but it is still, I think, an exciting core to get behind as a fan, especially for the disguised fans coming in.
I'm just going to add to this, Kangas, but everyone on that roster has also worked with Revan before in some capacity. Because Revan coached Cloud9 Challengers, he coached TSM, so that was his spring-summer, and then he worked with B-Boy on a Stroll. So Revan's actually worked with everyone on the team, too. So that also feeds into probably how it got built.
Yeah. And to your point of top lane in particular, I think Fake God was one of the premier top laners in NACL. Him and Surdy were kind of the 2 that stood out throughout Summer Split. And I think it makes sense that if you're going to have a call up, it would be Fake God. But I also hear you that like once Licorice is on the table, that could have been a consideration. But I don't know. I'm assuming a lot of teams talked to Licorice if they were looking for top laners. But again, I don't have insight as to why that wouldn't have happened, but I hear you there. Like, I think that there were other choices that we, as just a fan of a team and saying, I want them to be the best, they probably could have made pushes for other players. But overall, what they got, I'm still happy to root for this team. I know that they're not going to be like a top team, but there's pieces there to get
excited. Why are you happy to root for them, Kangas?
I'm happy about Zeyzal's comeback. I think that Zeyzal in particular, so that one I disagree with. I think that I would take Zeyzal over Chime. I'm rooting for Chime, want to see him succeed, but if I'm a team that's wanting to win and also wanting to, get a fan base behind me, I think Zeyzal's story is so cool because he just kept denying offers that were not good enough for split after split, playing in amateur academy instead, because he was like, I know what I'm worth and I don't want to play for a bad team for not a lot of money. And now, of course, the landscape changes, so I think that I haven't talked with him about that. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but maybe a bit of shifting goalposts because Shopify isn't that top team like Team Liquid or FlyQuest. It's like, oh yeah, like now is the big triumphant comeback. But I think his story is still cool because he never lost it. Zeyzal was always still playing at the Zeyzal level, even if his last split in LCS, I believe it was the Evil Geniuses, like summer 2021. I want to say he wasn't like looking stellar back then, but I'm still happy about his call up for sure.
I
mean,
I love Zeyzal a lot as a player, and I love his story. I think that's a great reason to root for Zeyzal. I'm not convinced that's a great reason to root for Shopify Rebellion. But Cubby, I want to hear what you're going to say.
I mean, I thought that we announced the two teams leaving soon enough to make sure that every player found a home, Travis. I thought that we solved this when it was announced.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a... and when Kangas, you were talking about the Lakers thing, I think a lot of it was a timing thing, right? Where Riot announces right as free agency starts, but after all the rosters are pretty much decided, like...
But none of the rosters were
before free
actually
agency.
announced, or from my understanding, locked in until a couple days later. So.
Oh no, dude! There were so many rosters locked in, man. It was like all verbals. Like
Yeah, but
yeah.
verbals are not locked in, right?
Yeah, but
I
like
think
betraying
we've had some
verbals
examples.
isn't the best. And also like there were
Happened before.
some scenarios where like GG potentially could keep a team, and there was a rumored Golden Guardians team that would have been like, I think I heard Licorice, River, Sven, or no, Licorice, Spica, Sven, and a couple other.
I mean,
pieces
they were
too.
in the running for JoJo.
Yeah, they were
until
running too.
until Golden Guardians was like, wait, hang on, or the Warriors, I think, told the, Golden Guardians to like lock or to stop all conversations or whatever.
I know that someone from GG's in the chat. There was also like a super budget roster as well, which if you look at where Anero's working in challengers with DSG, some of those pieces were being considered, like in case GG had to go budget too. There, I heard like a few rumors like behind the scenes of what they could do. But going into this question, I also am surprised. I think that Fake God and Zeyzal, just getting like into them. This is a core. They played together last year. They won both splits of challengers. They're the ones that are actually talking the most in the team as well. Zeyzal is very vocal as a player, but that's something where you have to consider. I know that like in terms of making changes, you would be changing both your talkers because the rest of the team doesn't really talk that much, and I personally would not do that. I think that Zeyzal, like, there was a Rel game that Zeyzal, like, I think game 1 he played Rel this week, and he didn't look good. That game, I didn't like that draft for Shopify Rebellion, quite frankly, and I think that if you get behind on Engage in that comp, like, you're going to feed. And then, obviously, like, they beat C9, and I thought that against C9, they, like, I like their draft. I don't get why teams are picking Renata and Emilio. I know that you can dive it early, but like if you get into grouping scenarios, you just get absolutely shat on, like thematically by that champion. So I actually thought that like Shopify Rebellion were finally able to put it together. I also know that there was an interview that someone did that said that they wanted the Sion Lilia game 1 of the week, and then Lilia was denied by IMT, and Lilia ended up being really good in that draft too. So they beat the plan, or like beat them into the plan. Like Sion Lily is now something we've seen. Like they had that up their sleeve. I don't know. I kind of want to see Shopify Rebellion like be able to win standard before like they're winning with like these comps that no one else plays. I think that's the one knock I'd have on them so far. I think that I could argue that Zeyzal or Licorice Revenge might be stronger than Fake God, but I think Fake God was still a good option.
Okay, you're saying that because you're a big brain that likes to see good League of Legends. I'm the complete opposite. Give me the wackiest picks you got, Insanity. Entertain me and the people. I don't want to have just another standard team. I think that's what makes them fun to watch. Is because Insanity.
I want to see both. Like, if you want to be good, you have to win as both. You know, like you have to be able to win playing what's strong, and then you have to be win playing what you play.
So Skizzle, then I guess that's the question. Do you want them to be good, or do you want them to be entertaining to watch?
Both.
I mean, I feel like you'd want them to be good, right? I think I'm probably more frustrated with the not Revenge not being picked up, not literally by any team, honestly, because I thought he would play was like in the top half of top laners last split. And so I think that like was kind of odd, especially because like even the rumors were like the EG picked up Surdy instead, so that was a little odd. I think picking up Zaze over Chime makes some sense if you want a shot caller and you need a shot caller. I think that's fine. Although I think Chime played really well last year too. Yeah. Like, I think a lot of this. My point with this is that I feel like these are like top half players, right? You know, there's players like Tomo who I think played pretty well last year, but if they got replaced with like upcoming rookie, I think it makes more sense. But like these players are like playing really well, and so like when you have a team that like, I mean, I guess they didn't finish super well last year, but like when they were playing mostly pretty well, and then you're just like, we're just gonna change them for like nebulous reasons, at least to like as an outside person, so I would question their decisions mostly.
So I just continue to be disappointed in Shopify Rebellion. I feel like, you know, we replaced TSM, a team that people talked about even when they were not really relevant in the standings or whatever, with this brand new team, and they come in, and I honestly kind of like Immortals more than them right now. I just don't think their brand.
Content's been kind of nice early in the year.
What's that?
So Immortals been doing a good job on the content early in the year.
Yeah, like they are. Well, I think two things have happened. One, Immortals has stepped it up a little bit, and two,
the other teams have stepped down.
Other teams have stepped down. And so
Nice.
when you look at Immortals now, you're like, well, okay, like, hey, they're not too off. And by the way, I saw Charlie earlier in the chat. Like, I've never been frustrated with the people that are working over there. I've been frustrated with like the organization, right? And I think that forever, Immortals has always struck me as an org that like the org doesn't care about esports. They just care about holding an asset that they hope to flip someday, and that day is probably never going to come. And so I felt, I don't know. I feel like lately I've been more happy with Immortals. One thing Immortals did that I couldn't do 2 weekends ago or 2 Mondays ago because I was doing the show was they held a barbecue and invited a whole bunch of people to come out and meet their players and talk to people and all this stuff. And I was just like, wow, that's like it's not anything too crazy, but like they're like, hey, let's come meet our staff and players ahead of the split starting. And in my mind, I'm like, hey, that's like pretty cool. That's a very neat idea. Like, I haven't seen other orgs do that. You're thinking outside the box. You're doing some neat stuff. So like, I think that's really neat. Like, the Shopify Rebellion stuff has continued to annoy me because, like, one, I don't like done? They had like no, to my knowledge, they had like no contracts roll over from TSM, right? Like, they did not have to run back a lot of the TSM infrastructure. And in my mind, most of that infrastructure and like the rosters and all that stuff was sitting there just as a like TSM was having that stuff sit there so that they could sell it, right? And so I'm like, I don't feel like this is, you kind of run forward this like weird leftover TSM thing in a lot of ways in terms of decision making on the competitive side of that. I'm still very frustrated with the fact that up until until 9 days ago, they had nothing but like JPEGs out that they had put out. I'm now looking at their YouTube channel, and they did release a video talking about their 2024 roster like 2 days. This is introducing our LCS 2024 roster, and this was, I think, like 2 days or the day before LCS starts. I'm like, shouldn't that have been done not 2 days before? They've now released like a little vlog from the opening thing, so they are starting to put out content. And like, I'm not saying that I'm gonna be a Shopify Rebellion hater forever, but it's just like, I just feel like if I was buying into the LCS, and I was, especially because I saw people in Twitch chat being like, Travis hates marketing orgs or something like that. No, like, if I'm fucking Shopify, I'm doing this for brand exposure, and I'm like running this organization. Let me be like, hey, by the way, guys, we're fucking Shopify. We care about esports. Here's all this content with like here's why we're coming in and we're going to help the LCS. And like, yes, it's struggling lately, but like, we give a shit. And here's all the cool ways we're going to do this. Instead, they feel a lot like the TSM of summer, right? In terms of what it feels like their commitment is to the league.
I still don't even know really what the team is, and I'm curious because like, you're muted right now, but I want to hear your thoughts. Are you a Shopify Rebellion fan, and if so, what made you a fan?
Not particularly, to be honest.
Okay.
I just watch a lot of the LCS teams, and honestly, this is like, maybe I got frustrated watching the IMT game where it just felt like they got rolled over, and I was like watching this, and I'm like, really, this is what we're getting?
They did beat C9 the next day.
They did beat C9, yeah.
I mean, I feel like C9 was very trolling that game. I mean, I'm a C9 fan. I was very frustrated watching the game. I don't really know how, if you have like permanent prio mid, you give up 6 grubs and then like lose, and then like Hail Mary bot dive, and then like that whole game just felt like they were trolling.
The Udyr top does help with grubs if you are Immortals, but yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts and opinions of like how teams can interact with fans more. One is I'm always going to push fans need to have some kind of like icon mascot. I think FlyQuest should just make the cat, Basil's little cat thing, their mascot now. Like, officially, that's the mascot for FlyQuest. Team Liquid has blue. I want Shopify Rebellion to just be like a guy in sweatpants and like a shopping cart. and then he can just like, you go to live events, he just like pushes his shopping cart and like throws out jerseys from it and stuff. Like, you know, lean into it, have fun with it, right?
I mean, yeah, and I'm a very boomer esports fan. I started watching StarCraft in like 2009, and like the pure person running it's like TLO, who's like a very very OG person, and I feel like they could lean into like the CEO is like a big StarCraft fan, Shopify. It's
Dude,
one
I
of the
used to
only places
root
you can make
for
money on it.
TLO back whenever he was a player. I met him a couple of times throughout the years. And like that's I think also the thing that's kind of disappointing is like that seems like a great person that you could put out in front, and whenever Shopify is coming in, you could release a video that's like, hey, I'm TLO, I've been in esports forever, blah blah. Instead they just released a JPEG with text on it. Like, I don't know. I don't
All
get
right.
it. But I do like the players. So I want to make it clear that none of this animosity on my end is towards the players. Anyway, thank you, Skizzle, for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we go on to our last caller?
Shout out to my wife Lizzie. She's upstairs with the dog asleep, so you know, house is very quiet. Thank you, Lizzie. Also shout out to TL for shipping out APA and Yon to downtown DC for World's Finals at 3 a.m. I did not go, but they really tried with their fan engagement on that one. I don't know how well it went, but you know what? Props to those guys for being up at 3 a.m. to watch World's Finals. I certainly wasn't doing that, especially in a random city in the East Coast.
I think Team Liquid has like a weird relationship with DC. That's where Steve was living before he moved out to California, and like
Yeah, they have like a venue there. They're the NBA and NHL conglomerate bought a part of TL or something like that.
yeah,
So TL
they
is like
own
the
they
venue here.
co-own Axiomatic, which is the company that owns TL.
But they don't really use it. They had LCS events last split, and this split since the LCS on the weekends, they're like running. I think they would just rather run like pregame events for the basketball or hockey games, so they just don't do LCS things there anymore, which is unfortunate. But maybe they'll for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Going to downtown DC is annoying, but you know, I try my best.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you so much for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks.
All right. Off to the last caller.
Hooray! This is an interesting one.
Awesome.
Ooh.
We got, where are we? Wilka Beast, Open Fire, Hippo Squirrel gifted a sub to Emily, Hippo Squirrel gifted a sub to Dalam McCubist, Grundle Chunk, thank you for the Prime, Unsullied, thank you for the Prime, TMFP, thank you for the Prime. And Roadheart over on YouTube. Thanks for hooking it up with the $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. Where are we? Kelby's in the chat. I don't know why. He must be truly bored. Kelby has to come play Magic with me because of a bet. He's coming to my Magic event this Sunday. And he has to do it because of a bet that involves the LCS and Riot Games that I cannot reveal or will not reveal on the stream.
Can I ask one question?
So we'll
Yeah.
have to go to the Magic event to hear the story.
Does it have to do with REN?
No, it didn't.
Oh, that would have been great. That's like the theme of the episode. Yeah.
He lost the bet at the end of last year, is what I'll say.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was the
sure.
bet. The bet stakes were, if I win, he has to come play Magic with me, and if he wins, I have to watch Top Gun because I've never watched Top Gun, and he is really
original?
upset about that for some reason.
The original movie?
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, I had some of it spoiled for me a long time ago, so like I was kind of like, I don't need to watch this again, and
Damn.
and then, yeah, it's fine. All right, our caller's here. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, I'm Emulator. I'm calling from New York City.
New York City. What do you want to talk about on the show?
I want to talk about how I am C9 is great and all, but I'm not super moved that their changes mean a lot long term for the organization.
Can you elaborate on this? You're saying what changes are you referencing specifically?
Sorry, like the addition of Jojo, Pune, and Vulcan, while I think are great, I don't think have really changed any of C9's weaknesses.
Oh, okay. That's a great way of putting it. Thank you. That helps clarify. Go ahead and elaborate though. What are those weaknesses and why do you think they haven't addressed them?
Yeah, so obviously, the thing to lead with is that at this roster's peak, with their mechanical ability, like, obviously the peak is winning domestic titles, or you might believe it is beyond, but they can definitely win domestic titles with their mechanics. But when we've seen C9 fail, and we have seen C9 fail in the past few years, it always feels like there are difficulties to adapt in playoff series. In particular, the NRG series, I felt like they really, really struggled to adapt to contracts. And in 2022, I really feel like this same coaching staff struggled to adapt to EG, and that's why they got bounced 3-0 by EG in 2022. So I think the additions of JoJo and Vulcan are obviously like good for C9, and obviously compared to the field of the LCS, they're still like a really, really great roster. But when I look at the additions of JoJo and Vulcan, I don't see anything that moves the needle in regards to how do they adapt better in series they're struggling in, which has always been the core struggle of like this group of C9 players who we have seen play together for some time now.
All right, who wants to take this first? Which one of you?
All right, I think that JoJo instantly makes things a lot better and a lot easier, especially if you're going to play a best of series. That man can play a lot more champions than MNS. And also, I think that the biggest issue in the NRG series and that playoff run was MNS. And JoJo is kind of fisting every mid laner right now, as we expect. So that's great for C9.
Which is all I want to, like, not to interrupt, but like JoJo
Yeah.
is also not impervious to inting, which is a thing that I
No.
think obviously he's and no one, and I know no one is like saying that JoJo Q never dies because no one believes that either. But like, while I agree he's definitely stronger than MNS, and I would like describe it as like his peak is higher and his floor is also higher because when he ints less than MNS. I don't think the C9 roster is going to have like. I think they're still at some point going to have an inting mid problem. And like, if you remember, JoJo Pune's sophomore slump was a real thing. Not that it was like a terrible like performance or anything, but he did die a lot more when that EG roster ran it back afterwards. So I think there is like some concern that JoJo Pune could become that, but obviously he's stronger than MNS.
Yeah, I mean, I love JoJo, and I love him because he does ints. But he also makes really sick plays, and he's able to do that because sometimes he does run it, take bad plays. That's okay.
I'm actually, if you don't mind me hopping in here, Cody,
Yeah.
I'm very surprised to hear anyone say, because you started off with you don't see it as a long-term build for Cloud9. If I'm long-term building for any org, I think JoJo's the first name on my list. If I can just have access to any player in the LCS, I'm just like, who's my first one? If I'm trying to build a roster and build a fan base and grow a team over like, let's say a 2-3 year span, I don't know if there's a name above JoJo on my list. So I'm curious why you looked at it from that lens. Do you not have faith in JoJo's ability to continue to perform either at this level or improve?
It's actually not that at all. I actually really, really love JoJo Pune. I've been a fan of him since Challengers myself. But actually, I think in particular, while I agree that JoJo Pune really deserves to be the star of any franchise on, C9 is a privileged organization and has kind of 3 or 4 players right now you could say like are worth building around. Not that all of them to the same extent as JoJo Pune, but like Berserker, absolutely a player worth building around. Blabber, a player they've kind of already been building around to get to this point. And even Fudge, like at his like lowest, he's not as strong, but still a player that C9 have at least been building around lately. So I don't disagree that JoJo Pune is deserving of being built around. But whether C9 is the org that is going to build around him, I'm doubtful of.
Sure.
Because
I
of
think
their other engagements.
I think this roster in particular, I heard a lot of different perspectives from people and kind of the shared thought that there's a lot of big personalities and a lot of strong voices on this roster. How are they going to balance? Is it going to be too loud in comms? Who's the in-game leader? And, you know, are we going to see sloppy play because there's like 3 different things happening at the same time that all the players are trying to communicate? And I think that JoJo in particular, from what I've heard about him behind the scenes, he's actually one of the most adaptable mid laners that we have in NA, where he is able to carry a game, but he's also, I mean, he played a whole split with Revenge top lane where he was sacking mid waves to just constantly roam top, right? Like he's willing to play different styles depending on what his team and the comp that they draft needs. So I think he's actually very versatile as a player. Now, whether you think the other 4 voices are still going to be too strong and demanding of what they want, that's another argument. I think that in their loss, Vulcan in particular didn't look very coordinated with the rest of the team. But other than that, I mean, their wins have looked really solid, and I think it's unrealistic to expect a team to just look perfect all the time.
Sure.
And there always will be those games where they don't look as good occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, I would just echo everything that's been said about the JoJo stuff. Like, I don't know how things will look when they get to playoffs, and I think that's where you could end up being vindicated if you really feel like if the thesis is basically like, hey, they can't adapt or they just struggle or whatever. I could definitely see, how JoJo doesn't necessarily immediately solve that problem, but like in sheer amounts of brute force, this team has become much stronger and much harder to deal with. And so I'm not like, I think that they are undoubtedly like the heavy favorite for spring.
Emulator, your initial take, you brought up G2 and you're like kind of like worried about like facing the same. G2 had issues like going international. Is that what you're worried about?
I'm actually thinking of the split that Mad Lions actually defeated G2.
Okay.
Because I think, at least where I'm coming from this, and it might be hot anyways, but where I'm coming from is that C9 are going to win so many games and kind of are in the process of winning so many games with so many like champions that are so good at fighting that I think they're going to collect data that when you're C9, you win the games of League of Legends. And I don't think C9's problem has ever been like struggling winning games in regular season. I think it really comes down to like it's weird and feels reductive to say it this way, but everything goes right for C9 until it doesn't, and then like when things start to go wrong for C9, it just feels like there's no way to patch the ship.
So this is actually something that I can kind of agree with. Like, it's hard to be the top team and to stay as the top team. And if you are the top team in a region and then you go elsewhere and you are no longer the top team, you all of a sudden have to learn and adapt and probably relearn some things that also worked in this region, like domestically, right? So like, would that kind of be like your concern? I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, that, and even on like a domestic level, that like when they are winning so much that even like other good teams that challenge them, sometimes they struggle to adapt to, even in season. I think that happened during NRG, and I think Eminence definitely was a big reason for it. But I think C9 still in that NRG series kind of got beat by coaching a little bit.
It's an interesting thought. I still, it's just hard to think like
for sure
to hit a panic button when they just feel like they're just so much better than the other teams. But yeah,
for sure. Travis also mentioned that like it's kind of true that if my thought is that like they're really good at winning regular season games, but they struggle to adapt, that really can't come to fruition until playoff series. So I guess it's really like not a concern immediately, but I just struggle to believe that like the same struggles that C9 do face when they struggle like have been fixed because of JoJo, Pune, and Vulcan.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out whenever we see the finals in the LCS arena. Or sorry, the Riot Games arena.
Hey, fun fact, it still says LCS Arena on Google. If you go to Google Maps right now, or maybe it was Apple Maps, I don't know. But somebody I was riding with, they had their GPS up and it said LCS Arena. So
they probably let go of the person that was in charge of updating the Google Maps stuff. So, but anyway, Emulator, thank you so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out here at the end?
I don't think so. Shout out FlyQuest, I guess. Shout out Inspired, my other favorite player in the LCS currently. And I would really, really hate to be wrong about this and C9 to prove me wrong and win Worlds. So C9 is listening.
You would hate that?
I would hate it so much. I would hate it so much.
Yeah, hate watching. Yeah. We're going to save LCS with hate watching.
With my JoJo Pune jersey. All right. Good night, y'all.
Thanks so much for the call. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.
All right. That is the show. I want to share a message I sent Cubby before the start of this, which was since I've just been leaking DMs all night.
Yeah.
I said, I've had an aggravating day, so trying to get in a good mood for the show. And I had said that maybe we could just do, I said later on, like, maybe we can just do an hour and a half instead of 2. And I just want to say, like, I've had this is a very frequent thing for me where leading up to these shows, not every show, every now and then I get a show that's coming up and I'm just like, oh man, today's been like such a rough one, and I feel like there's maybe not as much to talk about. And like, I knew that I had to talk about the Alienware stuff at the beginning. That was going to be a bummer. And I go into this just being like, okay, we're going to do this because it's Monday and we're doing it. And like any content creator who says that, tells you or pretends that they don't have like every now and then one of those things where they're obligated to do something at a certain time and they're in a rough spot. I mean, we all have that, right? No matter what job you have. But this show was awesome and really helped put me in a much better mood. It capped off what was an annoying day and with a really great way. And I think a huge part of that was Kangas coming on. Thank you, Kangas, for guesting, especially last minute. I really appreciate it. You were fantastic. I know
Happy to be the 8th string guest.
Yes.
We made it, folks. We made it.
You were wearing a shirt and you didn't do any flexing or anything today. It was very out of character for you, but
True. Yeah. I mean, we could always fix that.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's the show. That's the show. Thank you so much to love that you just have that right in front
pounds.
of you. Cubby, what do you want to shout out?
Thanks to everyone for watching and hanging. We got some fun callers. Thanks, Steve, for coming on, and good job in LCS this week. And yeah, I will. If you guys want to follow me, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, CubbyXX. I don't think I have much planned for this week, but also I'm not on Challengers next week, so we'll have some bonus time, and I'll probably be streaming a little bit more. So yeah.
Same. Hey, I hear there's something happening on Sunday over at Travis's place. You want to go to that, Cubby?
I hit yes on the invite.
Not my place. At the 100 Thieves compound, they're generously
part of my contractual obligation. You know?
Yeah, they're generously hosting our Magic the Gathering, the Murders at Karlov Manor pre-release. I'm hosting one for esports industry folks on that day. So yeah, Cubby, I need you to give me, or I guess now Kangas can, Kangas's email, because I need to add him to the invite so that I know how many pre-release kits to get.
You another one too.
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully this doesn't ruin my connections at Konami. If anybody from Konami that has hired me for any of the Konami broadcasts is watching this, I still love Yu-Gi-Oh! This isn't a betrayal. This is I'm dipping my toes into something else. We're gonna try
social networking.
Yeah, you're gonna be fine. Oh man, there was one other thing. Oh, I do want to shout out that this week is a super week for the LCS. They're not doing a good job of letting you know that, but there are games starting this Friday. So if you're watching this, I would bet that one, somehow you made it all the way to the end of this if you're a podcast or VOD, and two, there's a very good chance that if you did, you're shocked to realize that there are games happening this Friday. Yeah, let's see in Twitch chat. People say, how did I just find out it's Super Week? Damn, I didn't know that. Super Week. How am I just hearing this? Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, thanks, LCS, for telling me.
Challengers too, yeah.
It is,
Challengers Super Week.
Yeah.
But we're on Monday, right? Isn't it Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Or is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday? And I'm just trolling. It is Friday. Okay, trolling.
Feel free to express your surprise to the Commissioner of the League, who, in my opinion, should be letting people know about this in a better way. So, yes, and tune in, because you're going to want all the LCS you can get, because then it's going to go away for 2 weeks after the week after next. So stock up on LCS now before Valorant starts and shoves us into the abyss. The other thing is
positives.
The week after next week, I will be in Denver. I'm really excited to go to Denver. I have never been since I was a kid, and I don't remember that really. So if anybody knows Denver, please let me know like cool things I should do there. But I will be there for a Magic event, DreamHack Denver, which is happening there. So if you play Magic in Denver and you want to hang out with me and play Magic with me in Denver, then please go check that out. But yes, I would love to know what I should do. What's a good restaurant? I don't know. Let me know. Kangas, I forgot. Did we give you shout outs? I don't think we gave you shout outs. I think you just took shout outs. What do you want? Where can people find you?
It's right here, KangasCast. That's my Twitter or X or whatever account. That's how you can catch me on Twitch. I don't stream as often as Cubby does, but he's been inspiring me. I was streaming a lot of the Champs Q games and the NACL combines when tryouts were going on and stuff. So I try and do those types of things. I do Yu-Gi-Oh streams. I got a fun Yu-Gi-Oh event that's coming up next month that I can announce soon. So I'll be grinding some of the ranked ladder on there. So any Yu-Gi-Oh fans, come check out the channel.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Twitch. Thank you, YouTube. We will catch you all next week. We do these Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. So please don't pretend you don't know when they are, because I said it here. And it's if you didn't make it all the way to the end of this, it's your fault. Catch you all next time. All right, Twitch chat and YouTube. I am still here, although I think I am going to switch over just to Twitch, because YouTube usually gets pretty dead at the end here. But
YouTube.
Thank you, Cubby. Thank you, Kingus.
Yeah. Was that a passive-aggressive hit at LCS and how they communicated the schedule at the end there, Travis?
Yeah.
I don't know if I caught that one.
I don't think that was passive-aggressive.
I know you're
I
new.
don't know if I caught that one or not.
I know you're new to the show, Cubby, but that is like my number one thing is just making passive-aggressive comments towards. That's like what the show is. It's a vehicle for me to use other people, you and the caller and our guests' statements, for me to just stick a little dagger in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I got to contribute a little bit to that vibe with Ren, you know, and we really.
Yeah,
I was not expecting to talk about Ren tonight.
That was
Dude,
awesome.
I've had too many conversations about Ren, and
Fair
anyway.
enough. Well, it was awesome to be on. I do have to get going with the rest of my evening, but
yeah, thanks, Travis. This was a lot of fun as always.
Yeah, I have to get going with the rest of my evening. All right,
Cool.
You're not invited to stick around.
Yeah.
Well, goodbye, Travis.
I'll see you
Goodbye,
Sunday.
Chad and everybody.
I'll see you
all
Sunday.
later.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. Okay. If you guys really want me on YouTube to stay live, I will stay live over there. But like, we're mostly just gonna be hanging out and talking about Magic stuff and chilling and stuff. And like, quite frankly, usually when that happens, YouTube viewership goes to shit and nobody's talking in the chat. And so I'd rather almost try to like push all of you over to the Twitch channel. But if you really want me to stay live over there, I will stay live if you guys will continue to chat and be interesting and hang out with me. Also, I'm ordering some food right now. I'm on a diet. I'm trying to do less food delivery, but I've only had like a salad and a smoothie today, and I was going to try to make that like the only thing I ate today, and I'm too hungry. I did a giant hike this morning. I did a giant hike this morning, and man, why is I need to figure out some stuff, especially now that I will be able to do whatever I want with whatever technology, at least for the time being. Tate says, why does MTG use lands for mana? Someone please explain. That's the way it was designed way back in the day. Darth Zombie, thank you for the Prime. Late Night Arc, thank you. TMFP and Unsullied. So, did we? Okay, thank God. I thought for a second I froze. Well, I went on a giant hike today. Like I was hiking for about 2.5 hours. So, do teams get fined for unnecessary pauses because NRG? No, they don't. I don't think so. I mean, I think technically they could, but I don't believe there's been any fines for pauses yet. You look nice today. Thank you. I'm down at least 4 pounds from the start of this month. So we are. You know what? I'll just say it because we're all hanging out here. We're all friends here, right? Well, hang on. Let me switch over to Magic stuff so that we get rid of all the folks who hanging out, opening packs, talking life. So that everybody who doesn't, I want the real ones left so that I can talk about my weight and not have the haters here. Opening packs. Change to Magic the Gathering. Okay. All right. We're officially in the Magic world. Wait, one more thing. This is how I truly get rid of people. The numbers always drop when I do this one trick. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, fuck. Is it not plugged in? It should be plugged in. Why is it not plugged in? John, thank you for becoming a member, by the way, over on YouTube. I missed that. There we go. Guess maybe my USB drivers crashed at some point in time. All right. Now that the real ones are here, we're going to be opening packs on stream. And, I have a light here that I can turn on. And basically the idea is if people sub, I open packs. It's a simple equation that scientists have been using for years. So, okay, now the real ones are here. In 2019, I turned 30. And I got really into, I would say strung along. Maybe they would not consider it that way, but I kind of got really into this girl. And anyway, it led me to be very motivated to lose weight. And so at the start of 2019, I was, I think, 220. And I'm 6 feet, so... It's no, it was not that. No, you guys don't have your timelines right, Finch Flenchley. And so I was 220. Oh, there's a random training center here. Oh, I took this out to put in my deck, and then I didn't put it in there. I think I need to sleep that. 220, and then I went down to like 195 or 190. And I looked so fucking good. I also got super tan because I was outdoors a ton. And life was great. I'm going to turn music on. And then in 2020, something happened that affected the entire planet. Papa Smithy, just too slow. And it was the COVID-19 pandemic. And so I then gained back all of my weight. Jeff, I knew you before 2020. Yeah, so I was just inside all the time. I didn't do any stuff. Also, I just had a couple of years where I was life was not great in a lot of areas, and so I just let myself gain back all that weight and more. And so I think I was probably 228 at the start of this year, and now I'm closer to somewhere between 224 and 222. So we're starting to lose the weight, but I did just order Panda Express, so we're gonna gain it all back tonight. Yeah, last year I was super depressed. This year I'm gung ho. The world keeps trying, losing Alienware, losing. Oh, there was another thing that happened. What was the other thing that happened that was bummer? Oh, yeah, just there's a lot of things to be bummed about, but I'm trying to just fucking buck up. All right, no more feeling sorry for ourselves. That's the rule in 2024 for Travis Gafford. Yeah, Kangas was great, by the way. I agree with that completely. I will definitely want him on again in the future. And I feel like that was a different version of Kangas than what we see on the broadcast. I like him on the broadcast, but I think he oftentimes gives me pseudo Captain Flowers style energy on the broadcast, which is great, but not always fantastic for a 2-hour long live show. But no, he adapted very well for this. I will definitely try to get him back on. In fact, I'm going to say that to Cubby. Oh, yeah. No, here's the thing. You guys are talking about sugar. Sugar is my fucking vice. Oh, by the way, thank you, JB. So like I just love sugar. I love sugar so much. All my life I love sugar. I love desserts. I love soda. I love all of these things. Like I could just eat endless amounts of sugar. And that is like just really rough because sugar's not good for you. I'm on day 7 of diet. I want to diet. Yeah, I know, my PS. So my diet so far has been, well, one, I'm going to grab a pack because Bella sent a sub earlier today and was like, this is for, she got permission to give me a sub that would be counted towards opening packs. But one second. Yeah. So I do allow myself to have a Coke Icy when I go to the movies. And that is to incentivize myself to go to the movies more. So I did that video that was for Mark. The video that was like me talking to Mark or whatever, like letter to the commissioner thing. And one of the YouTube comments that was up near the top was, Travis looks so funny when he runs. And I looked funny when I ran because we had a lav attached to me and I had to say a full sentence before I ran past the camera. So, and also like if I'm like breathing or the lav is like bouncing, it would just fucked up. So I was trying to do like a little slight jog, but obviously it was going to be goofy. One of the comments was, Travis looks so funny when he runs. And then one of the replies was like, yeah, he hasn't, to be fair, he hasn't run since the Reagan administration. I just want to be clear, I was not alive during the Reagan administration. But stuff like that also, you know, that makes me also want to lose weight because people are just assholes. Okay. Oh, I'm Elvis 4. I think I will always be able to have soda if I like. I don't think it would ever feel difficult for me to have soda because why is this not? Hang on. Maybe if we lower this actually. No. Let me fix the focus 1 second. Because like just a bottle of Mexican Coke. I don't know if you guys have Mexican Coke outside the California, but like that just sounds so good at any given point in time. There we go. That's better. Hey, JB, thank you for gifting 5 subs. That is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll open 5 more packs after this. We're opening Modern Horizons right now because I'm trying to find a Misty Rainforest and another card for my Lara Croft deck. I forget which one. Am I doing any meetups at MagicCon? Hang out in my Discord in the Magic channel because I will be posting. I'm going to try to hold like a draft for TGI viewers at the MagicCon like fan or like creator area. You know, I just hit focus on this, but I guess it's too bright is the problem. There we go. Sylvan Anthem. Anybody know if Sylvan Anthem was worth anything? I think we opened one of these before, and maybe the answer was like not that great. Thank you, Keenan, for hanging out in the YouTube chat. I see you over there. Oh, hello. The problem is I've opened so many of these, and I don't need Arid Mesas. I need Misty Rainforests and stuff. But that's pretty awesome. First pack of the evening. Solitary Confinement. Don't think this is worth anything. Where's my perfect fits? Where are my perfect fits? I moved stuff around. Do any of you remember Truly Yuli? We dated for some time in 2018. She was a streamer around that time too. Nobody remembers her? Okay, never mind. I was going to share a personal anecdote, but okay, Kiki's Deli remembers. Yes, she was here with her partner, staying at my place this past week. We're good friends still, and I really like her partner. And she was there this weekend, so I had to go through and move around a bunch of stuff too, so that they could use the office. And now I don't know where I put my perfect fit sleeves. I will be right back. Let me go grab that. Yeah, Truly Yuli. You guys remember. Be right back. Oh, Easy Moto says favorite commander at the moment. Well, here, do exclamation mark Marksfield so you can see my decks, but then I will... No, exclamation mark commander so you can see my decks, and then I will answer that question. Also, my food is here. 1 second. Okay. So my favorite commanders right now, I think it's still, hilariously, the upgraded Precon, Urza. But it's tied, I think, with Soltham, Mayhem Dominus, which is my red burn deck. Hey, Anero. Remember when you used to come and play with your friends, Magic the Gathering? Remember when you cared about our group of friends? You lose your job and suddenly you decide to lose your friends. Heartbreaking. We did a lot of stuff in the off-season in Arrow that you could have gone to. Do you have a match on Sunday evening? This Sunday you have a thing? LCS is, or Anero's just doing the thing that... By the way, did we figure out if Sylvan Anthem was worth anything? Anero's just doing the thing that countless pro players have done, which is... Oh no, I didn't get a team. I guess I'll go hang out and crush an academy. Until someone gets desperate. Dude, should I do what Anero did and shave my head, get tatted up and jacked? Anero's been jacking for a long time. It's not a recent thing. I think, Anero, you started jacking yourself in 2019, right? See? There he is. Sithis Harvest Hand. I think it's gotten reprinted in a ton of precons and it's not worth anything, right? How about Zabaz the Glimmer Wasp? It's a token. The scroll's a token. Why SMI? They make so much money. I think most of their artists are Western artists. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. I can't remember now. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Isn't it? I don't understand. White steamed rice is 400 calories. Like, white rice has that many calories? Kobe's been on in the past, but I don't think he likes to do Hotline League. I feel like this is worth a decent amount. Doesn't the C Modern play? Hey, Fats is here. Fats doesn't stick around for Hotline League anymore. He just shows up for this. I have not drafted Arena Cube yet. Fats is the designated looker upper. I need to give him VIP. I thought I gave him VIP. Maybe I like timed him out as a joke or something and he lost it. Fats, what are you doing in Chicago, by the way? Are you doing the main event? These lo-fi beats are the Riot ones for the Vi album that they released. Oh, thank you, Fasa. Tate says, have you ever never studied caloric-rich diets around the world and what supported Asia for thousands of years? I've not studied caloric-rich diets. I know this card is bulk. Just the commander, right? Some rough pulls tonight. After that first pack was great. Oh, thank God. I needed this. I needed this so bad. Well, not so bad, but like pretty, like I needed one because I'm putting in my Lara deck. And I already had one in my Ursa deck, so technically I had one, but I definitely don't have, is the sketch print worth more than the like standard one, or is this worth less? Because I know a lot of people don't like the sketch copies. Oh. Oh. We're gonna sit back for a second. And we're just gonna enjoy this moment. I have to pull up the clip of this to put it in my Discord. Dude, that was sick. I got orange chicken, kung pao chicken, and white rice. Do people run Ragavan and Commander? Keenan, thank you for the sub, or for the membership over on YouTube. Oh, Bella. Yeah, I want a cookie. I want a cookie so bad. I think we only have 2 more packs we get to open. Is that how many I've opened? Maybe 3. I think we have 3 more packs to get to open. But we'll add more if anybody subs. I count Prime subs for that, even though they are dropping dramatically in value later this year. Sick. Okay, what were we talking about? We're saying sketch is about the same. Thank you for the subs and memberships, folks. All right, let's open 3 more packs, and or more, depending on our subs this evening. Hey, Olge Gamer, thank you for the 5 gifted. We will open more packs. That's very generous of you. Thank you. Do we care about Harmonic Prodigy? Probably not, I would guess. Oh, beautiful counterspell though. Prismatic is worth a couple bucks. So I opened something that said Prismatic. Oh, Prismatic ending? Prismatic ending and how much is Prismatic ending? Fats is disputing the claim that Prismatic is worth a couple bucks. That's why I can always trust Fats. Olge, are you new to the channel or have you been around for a bit? I don't know if you came in through my magic, like through the magic directory or something. Brea's Apprentice. Ooh, Animate Dead. Isn't this card good? This is a list card here. good but not worth anything. Oh, it's $7 to $8. It's so interesting that it doesn't target, but it's enchanting something in a graveyard. Really? Old Gamer, I mostly catch you on YouTube. I'm a League enjoyer who also played MTG back in the day. Nice. Why don't you play it now? Magus of the Bridge. Lightning Axe list card. We've only been getting one rare in some of these packs. It's kind of weird. Is Timeless Witness worth anything? I feel like it, isn't it? Or no, Eternal Witness is the card that everybody likes. Is this better? Music-wise, is this better? Hello, beautiful. I feel like I get this and the Arid Mesa so much. Braids got banned, right? Misty Rainforest is what I'm hoping for. But I actually did need that Scalding Tarn, it looks like. So that's actually cool. What do you think about Verdant Command? Biss says Scalding Tarn was $90 before this reprint. Damn. I know a lot of people are unhappy about reprints, but like I'm so happy that land cards in particular are like affordable these days. Quote unquote affordable. Calibrated Blast? I don't think. What about Squirrel Mob? Hello, Lunox. Oh, Mac to Ace, are you still here? I'm sorry, I missed your message. What draft set to buy for tournament? Like, are you holding a tournament? I think that Lord of the Rings was the best, my favorite set from the past year. And I think those draft boxes have fallen in price a decent amount. Yeah, I'm excited for Karlov Manor. Hello, Temp. Good to see you over on YouTube. All right, I'm almost done with this food. Can anyone do me a favor while we're looking up costs of cards? Can we also look up the amount of calories in a Panda Express fortune cookie? If it's more than 40 calories, I'm not going to eat it. Wait, oh, I opened 2 packs. Oops. $121? Oh my god, okay, yeah. That fortune cookie is unfortunately going in the trash. Territorial Kavu. I believe this is bulk. What an interesting card. Are you saying dress down is 1 to 2? You're letting your drafters keep collector boxes, MacDace? Is that what you're saying? What about chance encounter? This is Chandra, right? As a kid? Okay, MacDace, I'm glad. It's not? I mean, it looks like it could be a girl, like a little girl. Do we like this card? Dude, we've hit like we had that really good pack. This is our last pack of Modern Horizons 2. Oh. Thank God this did not get banned. Thank God this does not get banned. $20? Is Out of Time worth anything? Why are people telling me the fortune cookie is 30 to 40 calories? Temp! Thank you for the $20 over on YouTube. That's awesome. Thank you for the super chat. I know people use this as a commander. Temp, we will definitely open up some more cards because of you. Thank you. Okay, now JB says fortune cookies are 100 calories. I'm getting a lot of mixed messages, folks. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's less than 40 calories. Alright, I'm going to eat this fortune cookie. Nice, okay. Maybe I'll do my draft thing on Sunday, Fats, if I can do it. This is kind of like my 2024 motto. Man, they didn't put Jessica's Will in Commander Masters. But they're putting one in a Karlov Manor Commander? That's crazy. I really need a Nettle Cyst as well. What do we want to open? What do we want to open? I think we have one more sub from Olge Gamer that will open us a pack. I'm going to open this Dominaria Remastered pack. And then I'm going to use the 20 from Temp to open this Doctor Who Collector Booster. It says that it is in the Deadly Disguise deck. Fats. Moxbuild says that. Alright, Temp. Dude, Temp. I wish I had your willpower. Hello, Gurnt, longtime Hotline League listener and subscriber. Can't wait for tonight's release. It'll be up soon. Well, it'll be up for members soon. If you become a member for $2.99, you can watch it real early. Otherwise, it'll be up in the morning, Pacific time. We're opening a collector's pack, so this is gonna have some crazy shit in it. We got Fifth Doctor. Is Foreboding Runes worth anything? Where's Hotline League, says Mugcat. Hotline League it just finished. It will be up for members on the YouTube channel soon, and then it's up available for everybody in the morning. Curse of Fenric. Great episode. Really great episode. Are people using psychic paper for interesting stuff yet? Psychic paper 5 cents, damn. Are you coming to Chicago? Yes, I will be there. We were just talking about that earlier. Join the Magic channel on Discord so that you can find out when I'm going to do like a draft that maybe people can play in for free. Temple of Epiphany. Master Gallifrey's End. Shadow Blood Ridge. This person looks so much like somebody, like the art makes them look so much like somebody who I was not a fan of working with. Ooh, this is a hit, I believe. I know it's very strong. Surge Foil Carpet of Flowers. $8, nice. Surge Foil Davros. It's a fun commander deck to play. Yasmin Khan. I'm going through the series of doctors right now. It's rough. Aha! My favorite doctor is the 10th Doctor. Nice. Oop. Collector packs are not 30 plus. I can promise you that. JB, thank you for gifting a sub to Fats. We will add another pack. Maybe we'll open a LCI set booster for nice, Keenan. Maybe we'll open an LCI set booster for JB. But first, we still have one more to go through from Olge Gamer, I believe. Oh, 10th Doctor foils also 8? Is it in this treatment? This treatment is $8 $8. The TARDIS treatment. Nice. So that pack basically paid for itself. Okay, I need a gamble. I need a literal gamble. We got a Royal Assassin. Iceker, thank you for the Prime. We will add a Lord of the Rings draft booster to the pile. It says love Doctor Who and MTG, but the people in the arts feel so out of place. I guess maybe because when of the timing when I joined MTG, it doesn't feel that weird. Whale of the Forgotten, which unfortunately I don't think is worth anything. Okay, this is for Icecar. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right, my friend. We got a Soren's Ransom. Oh, this was seeing some play at one point in time in like Modern or something. I don't know if it's still relevant. I feel like I haven't heard about it for a bit. Casey Bryan, thank you for the 11 months. And Lunox, thank you for the tier 1. Holy shit, we actually started a scam train. How do we start a scam train at 10:30 at night, long after Hotline League is over? Really appreciate it, folks. Thank you. We'll open another Dominaria Remastered pack because of Casey Bryan, and then we'll have to find another pack to open for Lunox. Can we beat level 2 of the Scam Train? League is way better as a spectator sport than MTG. Card games struggle with spectator sports. Is this what I think it is, Fats? Like, is this, I'm not saying it's crazy, but I'm just saying like this is actually something, right? Do you prefer League or MTG as a game? So hard. Like, you can't. I don't think they're very comparable. Am I good at Magic? I don't think I'm good at Magic, but I definitely play it. Usually Lotuses are valuable. He's about to say so, but this one isn't. Yep. Yeah, there it is. Okay. I'm going to grab another pack because Lunox became a sub of the channel. YouTube, if you're watching, you can become a member. If any Twitch folks want to go, you can become a member on YouTube as well, and that'll get you early access to my content, including, I think, 4 or 5 videos that are up right now that aren't public yet. And I will open packs. Good night, Decimaya, if you're still here. But yeah, also YouTube, if you want to use your Prime sub on my Twitch channel, you can make sure that the Scam Train doesn't crash in the next 2.5 minutes. And I will open it back. Uh-oh. It's looking like the Scam Train's gonna crash, folks. We're at less than 2 minutes left on level 2. How about Glory in the retro frame? Is this worth anything, Mr. Fats? Alright, I have Brothers War set boosters if we end up getting any more subs. But if not, no worries. I'll just hang out on stream for a couple more minutes if we don't get any subs, and I will keep you all company. And you can keep me company. I can answer questions. Any of you have any questions? Hey, Mac to Ace just saved the Scam Train in the final moments with 5 gifted. Jesus, you're up to 110 now? Thank you. That's so generous. This is very generous. I will say, guys, friends, well, I didn't. This was too dramatic to say on Hotline League earlier, but we're gonna. This might be my last year as a content creator. I'm basically giving myself, because I'm gonna have to, unless I get sponsors, I'm going to have to fund TGI from my savings account, which financial advisors, I will tell you, is not a good idea. So, all that to say, when you sub, it is very much appreciated. But I mean, I'm going to be releasing content that I think is going to go a little bit broader than LCS content this year. So, I'm hopeful that we will be able to find a wider audience, and I can continue to be a content creator. Ooh. Lauren is worth something, right, Fats? No, TJ is not a good investment right now, Mac Days. But I do appreciate you investing into my channel memberships. 7 to 8, nice. Temp says, any movies you recently watched, Travis? I saw Zone of Interest last week, which was like really crazy. Ooh, I just put this in my Lara Croft deck. Pyroclasm. 2 damage AoE list card. Interesting. I don't think that the expansion of Valo is going to happen the way that you might think. Thank you, my PS, yes. I know Riot very well. Thank you, Old Gamer. Yeah, I want to keep doing Hotline. It has a special place in my heart. Llanowar Wastes. Don't these Painlands too? Aren't they decent? Also, I will say Hotline League probably one of the last things to go. I've been giving serious thought to the value of doing interviews. Like this year's interviews, I think a lot of people just don't care so much about the players, and so they just don't perform well on my YouTube channel. I've even been like, should I go make a separate YouTube channel just for these interviews? Multiple streams a week, not necessarily Hotline League related. Whenever I stream like gameplay or stuff like that, people don't tend to tune in. You know, maybe I'll get like 50 or 100 people, which is like a good. I'm not saying that's not any people. That's obviously a good amount of people, but it's not really like something you can. It's not like a business, right? Like my time is better spent instead of that stream creating some sort of YouTube video. So, but there are definitely times where I go do. Dude, Olge, you say that, but like, there's so many people streaming these days. So many of the LCS pros, people just don't watch them. Like Vulcan was streaming tonight, Busio was streaming today, JoJo's been streaming, Dokla, Yan. Ooh, is Gaia's Gift worth anything right now? Fats, I know for a little bit it was worth something. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Good night, Zerthon. I've never played Spell Table stuff, Varon, no. Oh. Please, no more chromatic lanterns. I have so many of these. Ooh. I will take this, though. How much is Portal to Phyrexia worth right now? Because that's like a decent chunk, I think. Yeah, Varen, I think you're right. That is a big hit. JB, that's good to know. Have you gone to any of their streams recently and seen that? We talked a little bit about it at the start of Hotline No Face On. Thank you, Varon. Yeah, I'd like to go on their show again at some point in time, but I don't know. I think their Paste Your Time Travis episode did not do great. Also, I need to Sleeveless Land Text, which I opened at an event. Alright, we got 2 more packs for Mac to Ace, and then I think we'll probably wind down the streams. Yeah, Olge, I mean, I think the thing is I'm just not great at, I'm not like the analyst type, so it's hard for me to talk about like League as a whole. Ugh, another glory. Lame. Right. Probably last pack of the night unless somebody comes through and rains some sort of sub situation on me. But honestly, that's okay. It's already 10:30. Streaming for 4 hours. Okay, this is a hit, I believe. I know it got reprinted in, I don't know how much play this sees. I know it's like a decent card, but like, do people play it in Modern or anything? Maybe it's not a hit. I have not considered that. Thank you, Saint Tim. Oh no! So even though this is Boros and has like beautiful art, it's only about $1. I guess this would be good for my counter proliferate deck that I'm no longer going to use. Okay. I think that's the stream, everybody. Good night, Mac to Ace. Thank you for the subs. Thank you, everybody who supported me. And thank you for all the subs tonight. Really appreciate it. Shout out to the YouTube folks who've just been hanging in over there. You all got very quiet, but you know what? That's okay. Let's figure out who we can raid.
Carbon Corp did have good drafts in the first couple of weeks, guys. They did.
Hang on, I'm finding somebody to raid. There's no LCS streamers on right now. I was hoping I'd find one. Yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, I'm probably gonna raid Boostio. See y'all later. Bye.
What a fucking chair to sit in, bro. I don't even remember what it's like to sit in